everybody, welcome back here to the Call of Duty Challenges broadcast. It's time for the grand finals of Cup number 3. We apologize for keeping you waiting. Sometimes these VOs just take forever to actually get through. Regardless, our grand finals is ready to go. I'm Infinity. Joining me on the desk, as always, is Proper. Animate, Team Notorious versus Cody Gakpo. They are the grand finalists.
Yeah, and there's a lot of story narratives just around this as a whole, right? You know, for grand finals included, you go back to even Cup number 1, something you were talking about is that, you know, Eric Boom, Maple, they have found themselves here before with Wee Man, but that was when they were preparing going into Raleigh with Furious. You know, obviously moving away from Cup number 2, Furious then comes along and creates this team with Cody Gakpo and co, and then they're joining the likes of both Gizmo and Harry. That is your Cup number 2 winners. So you have a lot of grand finals experience just in this year alone. It's just packed inside of one lobby, bro. I'm so excited.
Yeah, indeed, this is a really good grand final again, and it's a grand final that you should be expecting to see in not just in this tournament. I think, again, we've had so many discussions about what the top 4 teams will look like, what the top of European challenges will look like. These teams cementing themselves at least at the forefront of our minds going into the first season of Challengers Elite in the 2023 year. Nonetheless, let's take a look at how we got here, what our bracket actually looks like for this tournament. We can see that Team Notorious made their way through the upper bracket with the victory earlier on versus Cody Gakpo. That was a 3-1 victory earlier.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things, again, that you have all this time, right, to be able to go back and maybe try to quickly study over some VOD, try to rectify any of the issues that went wrong in that previous winter finals matchup. And to be completely honest with you, the way that Cody Gakpo were playing, it was just coming down to closing out those hard point maps. The Search and Destroy obviously looked a little bit more stall-worthy, but as far as hard points are concerned, so long as Cody Gakpo don't crumble in those final few moments, I think the hard points might look a little different.
Indeed, and we can take a look at the best of 7 now for this best of 7. I don't know why I said that. We got a best of 7. It's very different. It's not a best of 5, and you guys are going to love this one if you love Hotel. Also, you're probably not going to love it if you don't like Fortress, because you've got a lot of those two maps, a triple affair of Hotel between the first Search and Destroy and the second Hardpoint, a long haul stay if you like, and then of course 3 fortresses throughout the series as well. The first Hardpoint, the second Search and Destroy, and the second Control. If we make it all the way to the distance, Sandy, we do have a Mercado Las Almas Search and Destroy to close things out. But what do you think of the map set that we got here?
Well, every single one of these maps going back to Winners Finals were played in that best of 5 map set. Obviously, we didn't make it the full distance for that Hotel Search and Destroy, but you know, mostly looking at that map number 1 for the Fortress Hardpoint, this is where Team Notorious has come out and just completely beat the brakes off of Cody Gakpo, especially in that second set of Hardpoints, to where you had players like Eric Boom just absolutely popping off. Metals was also there as well, just reaping the benefits of what Wee Man's damage was looking at. I think it was like somewhere near like 4,200 or something like that. And Metals was the route man, just constantly getting behind enemy lines and making sure that the spawns were always intact. However, you go back to what Cody Gakpo were able to do versus Elevated, that lower finals matchup. They come out of the gate swinging like a bat out of hell, just like that again. I mean, hey, two cruise missiles never really hurt anybody, but Gizmo and FDOT were absolutely lighting Elevate asunder.
Yeah, this is the key thing. I think, you know, if Cody Gakpo played the way that they did in that prime matchup versus Elevate, Team Notorious might then find themselves in a spot of bother. You know, the momentum is always a factor that we do have to take into account. However, Team Notorious, you talk about it, kind of the sub players on the roster, Eric Boom and Metals, both played incredibly well in the prime matchup between these two teams on this map mode combination. And I do want to take a moment, actually, while we've got time before the map is actually going to get underway here, because I presume we've got a little bit of time as these players after all. Metals is a player that I do want to talk about, right? Because he's the new 4 for this roster. Obviously, Furious on the other side. We're looking for that kind of revenge story, I feel, for Furious on the Cody Gakpo roster. But Metals comes in as the new 4. And he's played extraordinarily well. Of course, you guys will know him from the Rocker Academy roster from last year. Hadn't had the best start of the season, I think, maybe on some less than desirable rosters. But now he's on a top-tier team.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to Cup number 1, it ended up placing top 8. I think he was playing with, like, Henry, BB Connor, and Vidian at that point in time through the Major 1 qualifier. Obviously didn't end up making it, didn't play in Raleigh. And then Cup number 2, they placed 4th when he was playing with Rafi, Dave, and Henry. So now he finds himself here with Team Notorious. And you're right to highlight Metals again, because it always feels like that Metals, even going back to that Rocker Academy roster throughout the entirety of the Vanguard year, was kind of being overshadowed. You know, when you are talking about the likes of Lucky, Real, they were always just dropping massive numbers as well. And even when Sucre was on that roster as well, we always ended up kind of overshadowing what Metals does bring to the table. On this roster specifically, picking up that second SMG to Eric Boom's leading and then the third AR as well, it just feels like that Metals has become unchained, if you will. He can trust that the back line is truly going to be holding their own, both with Maple and WeMan, making sure that those longer lines of sight are going to be covered. Eric Boom, we know how selfless of a player he can be, just going to soak up as much hardpoint as possible. Metals can go and do as he pleases, and he looks very comfortable in this game of Modern Warfare 2 with a submachine gun or Attack 56 to influence so many different spawns and so many different plays, no matter the game mode.
Yeah, indeed. But of course, as we mentioned there, Furious is on the other side of the board now. He's playing alongside F-Dot, Harry, and Gizmo. He's been looking very good. So I would argue, maybe apart from a couple of moments where F-Dot has been the player to watch, or even Harry and Gizmo have obviously had their moments as well, I would actually argue, consistently speaking, that Furious has been the best player today on this Cody Gakpo roster. Just the way that he's been playing, consistently being an annoyance in the backline. I think he now has something to work towards here to prove that, hey, he should still be on this Notorious roster. And now that he's not, obviously, maybe he'll be glad that he isn't, because this roster was looking pretty good. And Furious, I think, definitely out for blood.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a double revenge story coming through from Furious, right? Obviously, commiserations because he couldn't make it to Raleigh to play. Shout out to Haggy for stepping into play with Team Notorious. They actually did quite well for themselves watching over their shoulders throughout the entirety of that open. All that said, I mean, yeah, a chip on your shoulder, maybe if you're Furious to prove to the world why you were highly regarded going back to even the Ultra Academy EU roster, even at the end of Champs last year for Vanguard, going in through the entirety of this season. Now finding yourself on a new 4-player roster with the young 18-year-old British phenom of F-Dot. And you have a lot of explosivity in this 4-player roster, but I think that we do have to put a giant periscope onto Furious itself to be able to step up in such a big way, especially for this map 1 on Fortress. It's an SMG playground for Furious to be able to show what he has to offer, not only to break inside these hard points, but to also influence a lot of crucial moments throughout the entirety of this map. I think that Furious definitely has the pressure cut out for him, but he is backed up by 3 strong players.
Yeah, absolutely. And that again, is the key thing. We saw it in the matchup versus Elevate, the way that players like F-Dot were playing in that one. Harry and Gizmo, again, they had their moments. It is an impressive team, especially considering it was basically just built from scratch for Elite Season 1. Of course, they managed to qualify, so we'll be seeing them there. But this is our first real look at this Cody Gakpo roster, following all the roster mania that went down post-Raleigh. And again, something that we have to consider is, it's not just Elite Season 1 that we're looking at this team to perform in. It's also Boston. We've got that Boston event coming up at the beginning of February, I want to say.
Yep.
I don't know. The
You're
time
right.
is...
be confident when you say your words, bro. Yeah,
time is subjective, okay? Regardless, yeah, beginning of February, that is when the Boston Open is going to take place. So that's something we're looking forward to for this roster. But Team Notorious, again, the big talking point for me, I think, coming into this one, they've already won 1 cup, albeit it was with Furious. They were Cup 1 champions. They did it in the best of 7, I think all the way down to game number 7, I believe, against Elevate to win that one. So they'll be looking for a 2nd cup victory on their belt. Can they get it? We're about to find out. In towards this map we go. It's Fortress Hardpoint, and oh my goodness me, this is extremely blurry.
It is. It is rather blurry, but you know what? We're just here for it, honestly speaking. Starting off with the favorite side of the map is Team Notorious. I know that much because they are just a bright yellow, but regardless of the matter, what we're going to have to end up taking a look at is how Cody Gakpo just try to battle their way from the unfavored side of the map. Well, player number 8 of Furious, the player that we wanted to look out for, has already slipped the net. He is bottom art at this moment of time, gets snuffed out as well. And while all this play was starting to manifest itself, Team Notorious has just set themselves up in the middle of the map, has some hardpoint time, but they pushed too close to the sun, and that means that Cody Gakpo got the spawns for new.
Yeah, the old Icarus play, right? Too close to the sun. Team Notorious, they find themselves burned here as they lose the spawns towards Cody Gakpo for the rotation towards the next hill. They're already going to be bartering for those spawns to get them once again. Gizmo contesting with, believe it or not, Maple, who is trying to find his way in from that munitions side, but he will only win that 1v1. It is still a couple of players from the Notorious side that will be looking to get the spawns for the next rotation. Another huge 1v1 going on with the back line, and Metals will actually take out Furious in that engagement. Gizmo gets stunned here to try and take down Metals. This push around the back for Cody Gakpo, a really important one. You do not want to lose the majority of time at the back of this to go down by about 100 points, but here they go. Furious in for 2. Another kill coming through there from Gizmo and Cody Gakpo. They will be in.
You made it expensive, though, for that initial 20, didn't Team Notorious? Just trying to contest for as long as possible. Back pillars, Cody Gakpo not out of the woods quite yet. You got WeMan pushing through the outer doorways, and he'll be snuffed out the moment he even tries. Those doors are absolutely wall-bangable, and Harry is reminding us exactly of that. 2 kills for them going over by P2. 20 seconds remaining here on P2, so you're basically going to be chalking this if you are Team Notorious. Get some eliminations over by benches, hold the middle of the map, get some exits, set yourself up for 3.
This is crazy. Moment here in the game for Team Notorious. They need to make sure they get the rest of this 60 seconds of time. Just a reminder for you folks at home, it says best of 5 at the top. Ignore that. It's not a best of 5. We can't do best of 7 in game. So it is a best of 7 grand finals that is going on right now. Now that reminds out the way. Now we can see Cody Gakpo trying to find their way in towards the hard point. They've already breached the door's side, but still Team Notorious holding strong. The trophy system of Maple holding strong as well. But is it strong enough as Furious once again comes through with 2? Eric Boom's still alive in the back line, though. It isn't enough to influence the spawns, to anchor those spawns down just yet as Team Notorious spawning out over towards Gallows. Harry there, ready to pick up the slack.
Yep, big 4 down coming through in favor of Gakpo, and that means that they're going to be able to set themselves up in the middle of the map. Harry's on a 4 spree, 2 eliminations away. He's going to get himself a little bit of a cruise missile, finds Metals over by the Gallows. Won't be able to lock away with that 5th elimination in a row. So now the trades need to be here. The rotational battle's already fully into effect. Team Notorious, they thought that they had the setup of the gods for P3, but they got broken up very early. So now they have to rotate inside of Art, knowing damn well that they're going to be trapped, knowing that they haven't found Furious quite yet outside of P2.
Furious going to be that annoying player that we know him to be for the Cody Gakpo roster. He's able to pick up 1. Looking for 1 more. Metals would be the player to take down if you're going to take down anybody, but Metals instead are going to get that first few shots on and going to finish things off there with the Vasnef. So things looking pretty hot if you're Team Notorious here in this moment. They're looking to get the vast majority of time off the back of the munitions hardpoint, and they will have a fair amount of time, to be fair, for themselves effectively. Cody Gakpo spawning out all the way over towards P3. Team Notorious had players in the minimap watching it, but now moving over towards this hard point. Furious looking to find his way in. He will be shut down. F-Dot falls as well. Cody Gakpo, they're being stopped at the first wave of gunfights. Team Notorious doing a stellar job at holding. Just 20 seconds left now. Metals looking for that 6th. That would enable a cruise missile if he could get it, but no will be denied. I think for Team Notorious, though, Andy, they'll be happy with that for the vast majority of it. They are able to hold.
Oh, yeah, job all done coming through from Team Notorious, right? You got broken over by P3. You really needed all the time that you could possibly find over by P4. A little snap shoulder throw from Eric will take down former teammate of Furious, and you're going to be sitting pretty with about a 40-point lead going in towards P5. There's only one player here, but it's a young 18-year-old phenom of F-Dot will finally be dealt a swift demise over by the head glitch thanks to the statue, and Metals can push a little bit further up forward, but the reinforcements not fully there. This is where Cody Gakpo are so deadly, are on the initial 20 seconds per each hard point. They'll have those close spawns fully in effect, and they'll be entrenched for the time.
Again, it's those spawns that you do want to consider here as well for P1. They want to make sure that you are on the right side of the map to make sure that you do get control early on that hard point. For now, though, we look over towards the battles inside the Blacksmith Hill, and Eric Beam was a crucial one there against Gizmo. Manages to remove Cody Gakpo from the hill for the moment. Now 20 seconds left here. Still a wealth of time to get off the back of that hill. Team Notorious looking to still fight for it, but again, keep an eye on those players bartering for spawns, making sure they're on the right side of the map for the next set of rotations. That player will be F-Dot. He was over there looking to cause some problems inside munition. He will actually be shut down.
When it's all said and done, about a 30-point lead going in towards the second set of hard points. Nobody really sticking out as far as the stat line is concerned, minus Eric Boom, who's +4 with 30 seconds worth of hardpoint time. This is why we highlighted the SMG presence coming through from Team Notorious and the flexibility that needs to be answered from Cody Gakpo. But here going in towards the second set, F-Dot, about 2 HP in a dream, is actually getting overwhelmed inside of P1. And Team Notorious, I mean, they'll win the double-edged sword effect. They're going to be able to get themselves those art spawns. You also have an off-screen battle. WeMan will lose over by the Gallows, but they're still keeping all of Cody Gakpo at bay outside of maps.
Yeah, again, those crucial battles for the next rotation. It's really important for getting time off the back of that hill. Maple, though, still fighting actually for the scrap time here on 3 in a row. Good supporting gunfights coming out from WeMan in the middle of the map too. That'll keep Cody Gakpo at bay, and they've managed to make sure that nobody has gotten past to influence the spawns for the next hill. This is a really good position overall in this game for Team Notorious. They can get the rest of the time on this one. They can get the time on P2 as well. They'll be in a stellar spot as long as they make sure they don't face down any wayward spawns from the Cody Gakpo roster. But look at the overextension now. Coming out from Metals, moving all the way towards the middle of the map, trying to catch some players from the Cody Gakpo roster off guard, but will not be able to just yet. They managed to break that first line of defense, and here they come. F-Dot from this door side area, looking for these kills. Managed to get the first one against WeMan already. The second, looking for number 3. He will find it, and Cody Gakpo, off of F-Dot's heroics, will manage to break on through, but for how long is the question? They've got players on both sides of the hill to contend with.
The second win of F Dot hits a little bit different every single hardpoint map that we get to cast over this young individual, but even more so than that, job's not done. You got Metals in towards the back. He is 5 HP, stunned up. Maple's also back here to help things out, but that doesn't mean that Gizmo isn't ready to hunt you down. 15 seconds remaining, and you look at from the rotation from 2 to 3, you already have players from Cody Gakpo over here. F Dot trying to hold this rotation for their team. He's actually going to be overwhelmed here momentarily as spawns have flipped, but Cody Gakpo keeping this within 20.
Yeah, again, this is a massive rotation coming out here from Team Notorious, and a huge moment you have to feel for F Dot, who has a hell of a lot to do. Already that kill against Eric Boom will be big enough that some pressure will be alleviated, but on the other side, no! F Dot actually wins that gunfight! How on earth does he get away with that? And now kills in the kill feed still coming through from Cody Gakpo. Regardless of that fact, Team Notorious will spawn close. It doesn't matter about the heroics that F Dot is able to pull off. It's in fact Maple that does so much to pull the attention of the Cody Gakpo roster in the middle of the map. And now for Team Notorious, of course, they've got control of P3. They should be able to get the majority time off the back of it. Cody Gakpo is still going to try pushing a couple of players through the art side. That's going to be Harry and Gizmo down to it. Metals able to pick up 2 though, and Harry now the last one left alive. He will be shut down. Furious falls as well. Team Notorious do a stellar job at getting the majority time off the back of that. And now for Cody Gakpo, this next rotation is crucial.
Metals made a massive play halfway through that P3 hard point is that when they spawned up, they actually put themselves in the closer stable to P3 and just waited for the reinforcements to come through P5. Once those reinforcements came through, even over by the main gate, they were able to set themselves up for a pinch over towards P4. As you say, Cody Gakpo have themselves close spawns. Metals taken down and C-Mate isn't exactly going to set yourself up for success, but we'll end up at least finding F Dot over by pillars. So consolation prizes galore as the rest of their teammates are right at the front door.
Metals trying to find his way in the back line. He will pick up the first against Harry. There is another one from Maple, but look at the trades coming through from Cody Gakpo now. Just a 1v1 for the moment, and WeMan will win it. A second in a row. That will get the spawns from Notorious now. A massive break from them with 30 seconds left here. Still a wealth of time for both of the teams to get. Gizmo flies on through for the kill on towards Eric Boom, and another from Harry in the kill feed. Make that 3 as Cody Gakpo, just as quickly as they remove from the hard point, they're able to get a wave of gunfights in their favor due to close spawns, and now they'll be right back into this game. But look at Blacksmith hardpoint. Look at Notorious at the moment. They're ready for the rotation.
You got to have this rotation. And even WeMan is able to take down at least one player. That was going to be Gizmo that spawned over inside of the P3 staircase. Could have played upset towards this rotation. But look at how far forward some of these players are. Eric Boom is all the way inside the gallows. He's going to have his work cut out for him. Gets completely overwhelmed. Triple Child as you may like it. Maple was next up to bat. Completely fallen by the wayside. Now these 2 players inside of maps need to go big. Metals only has a submachine gun inside this hardpoint. Doesn't mean it doesn't beam from long range. We know this.
Well, it might well do. Notorious now starting to get some time. WeMan really heating up at the midpoint of this game. 4 kills in a row. The middle of the map will be his. Maple also starting to get control as well. It doesn't matter where Cody Gakpo is spawning. They're not getting anywhere close to the hard point. They're spawning over towards the gallows side now. Gizmo, you got to get this player out of their kill. You have to remove Metals from the hard point. Finally, somewhere, somebody does, but that is a wealth of time that ends up going the way of Notorious, and Maple now finds himself on 5 in a row, just 10 seconds away from victory. Notorious, and there it is. Maple with 6 in a row now. Should be able to end this hard point here. I don't think anybody from Cody Gakpo will get close to the hard point. And what an ending there from Team Notorious. Maple and WeMan streak out right at the close.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, there's a reason why we talked about Metals coming into this map number 1 was pivotal to the success that this team of Team Notorious did have over Cody Gakpo in that winners finals matchup in this Fortress hardpoint. It was just constantly in the right place at the right time, making sure that they were always rotating early, finding these pinches, setting up themselves up for success with SMG duo of Eric Boom. But it needs to be talked about when it matters the most. Man, I tell you, Maple shows up, man. In that final hard point right there, if Maple doesn't find at least those 2 openings, the SMGs cannot get inside of Art the way that they did. If Maple doesn't stay alive over by Stables, WeMan can't push out over by Cannons. There's so much that just hindered off of Maple staying alive over by Blacksmith in the active hard point in that moment of time.
Yeah, just incredible play coming out from Maple there towards the end. But that was a really close game, I think, between the 2 teams, right? So many crucial moments. We can take a look back at the replay package here to show you just how many crucial moments there absolutely were. Back and forth was this game, and it's pretty much what we'd come to expect out of a hard point between these two teams in the grand finals. Of course, this again one of those crucial moments we look at sort of the Blacksmith hard point and the first set. Team Notorious, they wanted to get control, just not able to get the vast majority of it off the back of the Cody Gakpo rosters. But Addy, at least for me, I felt like a lot of the big battles that did go down went down on the P3 kill. We actually saw a fair bit of contention from both sides.
Yeah, we really did. I mean, through the first set, right, Team Notorious again had the early rotation, and then Cody Gakpo completely blow it open. But here in the second set is where things got very, very scrappy, is that Cody Gakpo were actually in for the initial time. It was FDOT that found a nice little crucial two-piece, specifically on the metals, but I believe it was Eric Boom that then come back and was able to find himself a two-piece of their own to be able to get spawns back in their favor for Team Notorious. And then again, metals, they made the absolute play to be able to truly sway the decision on that P3 hardpoint. It just spawned up, get inside of stables, wait for the reinforcements to come through the anvil side of the map, and then shut them down before they could even sniff the hardpoint itself. That pacing differential was quite relevant, might I add, as we're missing 2 players, and that's probably because Harry didn't exactly have a fun performance comparatively to what we have seen them do, even specifically in the 1.16 overall KD that they dropped versus Elevate in that lower finals matchup. But 34 and 29 for WeMan. Again, this guy is everywhere. 4K damage, 21 non-traded kills with 12 assists. He only had 10 seconds of hardpoint time. It doesn't matter so long as he's locking down these longer range of sights to set up Eric Boom for all the hardpoint time. Metals for these rotations at 27 and 22 with 3K damage at 2 minutes of hardpoint time. Like, come on. This Team Notorious is nasty.
Yeah, I think it's what we're talking about, right, with the composition of the roster, with WeMan doing his job. It really is that simple, right? You know, he's making sure he's locking down lanes, making sure that Cody Gakpo just cannot get anywhere near the hard point, and giving Eric Boom Metals the breathing space required inside the hill. I mean, what they had significantly less engagements for that exact reason comparatively to WeMan. Maple, of course, playing that supporting AR role as well, doing a really good job of exactly that. But yeah, really well played from Team Notorious. They're able to win out in map number 1. A huge victory for them. I think we have to say that much, right? If we're talking about the storyline of Cody Gakpo, they're looking for revenge against this Team Notorious roster. You want to get the first map in the best of 7 in your favor, because that would be huge for you to get the momentum moving in this grand final. But not able to get it done. Hardpoint and Fortress will go the way of Team Notorious, and the best of 7 has begun in the favor of the Notorious roster. Next up is Hotel Search and Destroy. Again, we didn't get to see this, I believe, in the last best of 5 between the two teams. We would have done if it went to a map number 5. But nonetheless, we do love a little bit of Hotel Search and Destroy.
No, we absolutely do. I mean, this is a map mode combination that offers a certain amount of flexibility, you know, one of which is going to be the sniper battle. Same thing that I talked about when we were in that map, too, with Cody Gakpo versus Team Notorious in Winners Finals, is that Harry versus Lucky show. Very fun stuff is going to be upon us when we get into this map number 2 of our best of 7 grand finals. But you go back to that Mercado Search and Destroy, Cody Gakpo were able to win 6-4 off of their flexibility and adaptability, I would say, over Team Notorious. That they did lose to Elevate on Mercado Search and Destroy just by brute force and understanding off of information via nades, but that's neither here nor there. Here on Hotel Search and Destroy, excuse me, is that Team Notorious. It just needs to continue to lean into what has worked quite well for them through Search and Destroy throughout the entirety of yesterday and even throughout today so far, and that's just, again, Lucky with the boomstick, not Lucky, just continuously finding value with their SMGs, just getting up in the face and just completely making the enemy team feel rather uncomfortable. If you can do that successfully versus Cody Gakpo, then you know their ARs aren't going to be able to hold those longer lines of sight, and you know damn well that Harry's probably not going to be able to pull out the sniper, because they're probably going to be left alive and scathed away in a 1v4.
That seems to be, at least for me, where the strength lies for this Cody Gakpo roster at the moment, at least, right? You talk about the SMG presser for the roster, and it works so well on a map like Hotel Search and Destroy. I think we've seen it a fair bit early on in the season, where teams can get hyper-aggressive on the offense, especially towards the A site, you know, making your way towards the bedroom side. If you can get an SMG player in bottom, in top bedroom, you can get control of basically the bomb site, basically in its entirety. Of course, mid-map control is also important, but that SMG pressure towards the bedroom side, that is what I kind of want to see from Cody Gakpo coming into this one. So looking to type the series at 1-1. We're just waiting on some players to get in the lobby. So before we get that lobby set up, we're going to do a very quick break. We'll be back with map number 2 in a moment. Welcome back, everybody, here to the Call of Duty Challengers Cup 3 finals between Team Notorious and Cody Gakpo. We're seeing Team Notorious 1-0 up in this best of 7. Reminder that it is a best of 7, not a best of 5. We're into Hotel Search and Destroy now, and right off the rip already, it looks like Team Notorious coming out with some venom.
A big old battle happening over by the atrium. Even Eric Boom taking down one of his teammates, but it will all be for naught, really. I mean, Harry left in a 1v2. He's 13 HP. They know exactly where he's located at. You can even see WeMan pushing through Jacuzzi as well. It's just should be dead to rights here, but I respect this coming out from Eric Boom not to immediate challenge. He's going to allow Harry to actually get the regen.
Yeah, Harry regenning up now. Ready for the next 1v1. Eric Boom just L-triggering every single corner, slicing the pie. Side kitchen. Quite the activity to do, but Eric Boom's going to get this bomb down now. Curious what the reaction is from Harry here in this situation. How does he take this one? Eric Boom going to get the snaky snakes out. You might have heard exactly where Harry's coming from here. The door has been opened from Harry, but the time he's taken surely might actually notify Eric Boom. Eric Boom! He's going to win the gunfight anyway! Harry can't get those first few shots in. The snaky snakes just too much to deal with. And there you go. The first 1v1 in this game number 2 will be won by Eric.
You can do it too? Harry actually almost had some smoke in him. It's just crazy that we even ended up in a position to where Harry almost clutched a 1v2, all because, like, WeMan just tried to chow out from Jacuzzi, and Harry just completely slams him through the floorboards. But, hey, that's a hotel search and destroy in a nutshell. If it's not going to happen over by lights, there's always going to be a giant tussle that could happen over by atrium, and that's exactly what happens. Just Team Notorious will scathe away. Eric Boom did fine, too. Now it's Cody Gakpo's turn here for the offense, and it seems that they want a little bit of min-map coverage, but actually leaning a little bit more towards the kitchen side.
Eric Boom throwing that nade out just to try and ward these players away. Face down to Semtex, does get away completely unscathed here in that scenario. So, Cody Gakpo, your objective is to get control of B. It hasn't exactly gone well just yet. You do kind of need a first frag somewhere along that path. Falls towards the other side. They might be able to get that first, but I think that's exactly what's happened here as Metals will fall. Unfortunately, though, for Gizmo, goes towards the middle of the map, does get taken down by WeMan. F in for the trade, and, well, look at this, trades galore. Maple will finally take him down, and now 2 versus 2 we go. The bomb has to be retrieved.
Judging off of the dead silence pop with a pistol, I'm sure that Maple probably has a boomstick in their back pocket. Don't know how that works, but pretty sure it's there. Eric Boom. Through double arches, waiting for the timing out from Statue. We'll find Harry. There's no trade to speak of.
And get away as well. Massive from Eric Boom once again. And now Furious left up in a 1 versus 2 against his former teammates. And get this bomb down. Should be okay. Now it's about playing against Eric Boom and Maple in this situation. I think if you are the latter 2 players, if you're in this 2 versus 1, you just try and play the pinch. Maybe they're just going to go at this one together. Furious, how ready is he for this one? Eric Boom should fly across. There's the first. And no, Maple does not immediately react here. He's going to be taking shots from the side. Maple does take him down. But goodness gracious, Furious makes that one tougher than it needs to be.
6 HP. I mean, Furious almost walked away with that 1v2 clutch. It's luckily enough, I would say, that Maple was able to at least find a TAC 56 on the ground along their way to get inside of kitchen. But yeah, the nade kept them weak. But I got to tell you, I mean, Furious completely almost just drops them to the ground. That's back-to-back potentials for 1v odd situations from one of these Cody Gakpo members. But you have to remain composed here. You lost the opening 2 rounds. It's just about adapting and maybe trying to find some of these first bloods, because I'm pretty sure that's back-to-back first bloods that Team Notorious have been able to find for themselves.
Yeah. Notorious doing really well off the back of those first bloods now. Now back on the offense are Notorious, and look at this barrel towards A. They've only got a couple of players down bottom bedroom to contest with. Furious is one of those players, and he gets stunned and naded up here. Not going to be confident enough to ego chow, and that will lose them control of the top bedroom area. Eric Boom has already ingrained himself in this area of the map, and this is what we were saying at the very beginning here before we went to the break about players getting themselves in bedroom.
They know that they have one player that's trapped in bottom bedroom, and Metals just chows it. Is able to find it, and Furious, he just got such unlucky timing. He knew that Eric was up here. Not anymore.
Making a lot of noise now. Daddy has been activated, so no noise of his feet, but slamming open every single door possible. Elsewhere, Gizmo has taken down WeMan, so Notorious no longer comfortable to get the bomb down. They simply can't as well, because WeMan was the bomb carrier in that situation. 30 seconds left now. Cody Gakpo got control of the site. Mel's has to get Furious out of the bedroom, really, to get this bomb down unscathed. And, well, Eric Boom, he's going to get that kill. On towards F dot. Furious still a problem you got to deal with, and there you go. Finally will fall. So now Gizmo left up in a 1 versus 2, 15 seconds left. He might be able to stop the bomb plant, and all the shots go in, but it's not enough to get Eric just yet. Maybe the white child coming through, but no. Metals will come up the stairs and slap him away. Notorious. Third round of the bounce.
Oh, man, if Gizmo finds that elimination on Eric Boom before he dolphin dives over towards the bomb site, could have just gotten out with his life and played against the clock, maybe re-wrap over towards Spa, but hindsight being 2020, this Team Notorious roster are just definitive with what they've been doing off the rip through 3 rounds so far, Brody. Again, first bloods are obviously something to take a note of. It's like you were saying, I mean, Eric Boom just completely flies forward, is able to get inside top bedroom and breaks the ankles mentally of Furious, thinking that they were going to be able to find that trade from behind top bedroom, but slippery is Eric Boom. Cody Gakpo need to find something to do here.
You just got to get something in your favor at the moment, some form of momentum going your way, because Notorious have been lights out in a search and destroy thus far. Of it down to Eric Boom, who's been 5-1, that route man for Notorious. But again, Cody Gakpo doing exactly what we said they needed to do, getting a player up towards this balcony side, getting up to their inside bedroom. Furious will be that man, looking for the 1v1 against Metals, but just the information will be enough for the moment, especially as elsewhere Harry has drawn up a first blood. Looking for a second against Wee Man, that would be well enough to get the bomb down. They're going to go for it anyway. They think they've got enough cover.
Bomb's planted at A. Metals ain't done yet, though. He's going to be able to find himself yet another elimination, up on 3. Oh, Gizmo with this dead silence play. He's so silent. Eric is just chilling over by the info station. Oh, and Gizmo's aware of it. The early damage is going to be good. The cover from Wee Man, even better. 2v1.
Furious. What you got to do in the scenario is stop that bomb from being diffused here, and he's got the angle on towards Eric Boom, but didn't get that kill. If he gets the kill, it's so much more manageable, but now Eric has the information. Wee Man has the overwatch. The stun is thrown out. I'm not sure that the Chow was the best play, but just needed to make sure that no one was on the defuse there, of course, because the bomb isn't exactly parted for him in that scenario. And yet again, it's another advantageous position for Cody Gakpo. They get the first blood. They get the bomb down. They still can't convert.
4 rounds in, all in favor of Team Notorious. It's on the back end of just Metals again, and not to mention the cover. I mean, Gizmo found his way all the way behind enemy lines, was on D2. Even with the bomb being planted there, again, in a 1v multiple situation, like you were saying, I mean, the stun grenade was there, but I mean, you're almost forced to take the challenge at that point, aren't you? Especially with knowing that Eric could just sit there and just pop the defuse. But Wee Man with the cover twice on over just completely gets the job done to keep Eric alive, plus the defuse to boot. Gotta have it here if you're Cody Gakpo, especially on defense. Nades will be coming through from the atrium. Cody Gakpo have split the map 2-2.
Cody Gakpo have to find something, and finally they do. This time around, they make sure that Notorious don't get any of those players through rugs. Good kills coming on through now from the Cody Gakpo roster. Another one over Furious. And now Eric Boom left up in a 1 versus 4. He's already made it a little bit more palatable. It's the first blood, but no more just yet. And Cody Gakpo, I think in this situation, just be careful enough not to give away any free kills.
Eric's going to get tagged. He is a bullet. 23 HP. Run, Eric. He's going to play the corner. Is anybody going to try to challenge this? I mean, it wouldn't be the right call, but F-Dot has the AR, better one to take at range. And finally, Cody Gakpo will put themselves on the board, and by way of just a gifted first blood, I mean, trust me when I tell you, I love to see the slight adaptation coming through. Look, you're 4 rounds in, you might as well just try something zany, and that was Maple pulling out a 3rd SMG, and he just tries to get inside a wine, tries to push all the way through rugs, and it just doesn't work. The setup just a little bit too standardized for Cody Gakpo to, I guess, fall to such a blitzkrieg play that Team Notorious attempted.
All right, well, they got themselves on the board. I think this is the first step round for Cody Gakpo, is just getting yourself into the game. Of course, crucially, they haven't actually given away any streaks as well. Notorious weren't so dominant in those first 4 rounds that any streaks went their way. That's something that Cody Gakpo will have to be happy about. Now, though, the first blood in this round. Nice nade from Eric Boom. Can Harry land one right at the feet of Eric Boom? No, he cannot, but it doesn't matter. The trade's now starting to go down here. Maple in the middle of the map. Gonna have to find some cover pretty soon here as they go into a 2 versus 2 alongside Metals. Elsewhere, it is Gizmo and Furious that are pretty split up on opposite sides of the map. Gizmo gets that first blood there inside the 2 versus 2, and now it's down to Maple in a 1 versus 2. He is going to be shut down as well. How about that aggression to close out the round?
I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, just it almost felt like there was only 2 bullets that came through over by the L desk. We'll see it from Furious's perspective. I mean, it's a pretty good gun. Is the Vaznev up close? Maple almost got that elimination. A little bit of sidestep coming through from Furious. 2 rounds now in a row. for Cody Gakpo. And you know what, Team Notorious have been doing so well. Cody Gakpo answered back with their own trades of their own, just making sure everybody's in a tradable position. They forced out the split map as Metals was bottom luggage, and well, Maple was all the way over by the atrium. So we'll have to see how the adaptations continue on. Through the lobby we will go. Nades, I'm sure of it, but the bomb in the hands of Eric Boom is kind of leaning a little bit closer towards A. Actually drops it over by D1.
Metals trying to find his way through the middle of the map. Gets shut down by Furious. That was a bit of a ballsy play. Furious just taking names, taking heads at the moment. Eric Boom now left up in a 1 versus 3. Of course, he doesn't have the bomb. He dropped it earlier on. And I love this from Furious, just retreating all the way to the back of the base here. Should be able to catch Eric down on the... Eric! Okay, Furious, absolutely the MVP of that round. And now we were talking about momentum for Team Notorious. It's Cody Gakpo. 3 rounds here in a row.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting as well is that Team Notorious have been that team that's been getting away with this highway robbery of just overall pattern aggression. So what's Cody Gakpo's answer? Just play standardized. You know, you pull out that third AR, you watch these longer lines of sight. You had F dot over inside the cutout, and then you just had Furious just on the jacuzzi itself, just snaking his way to victory. It's just the things that you need to do to shut down the aggression from Team Notorious. 3 rounds on the bounce. Cody Gakpo starting to piece it together.
Yeah, really looking good here, as you say. The adaptations coming through from Cody Gakpo. And, well, that's pretty good from Maple. A sniper from Luggage able to take down Gizmo, and that will put a stop to anything on A pretty much right out the gate here. Cody Gakpo will have to rethink their entire play. And now the repositioning coming out from Maple, too. Looking for any more players that will come across his path, but I don't think there's going to be any for a while, to be honest, Andy.
There was one underneath him, actually, if you saw through the X-ray. There's one player that was pushing through bottom Luggage. And Furious is completely split from the rest of his team. All the way inside of the restaurant. Yeah, that's F dot. He's making the sneaky play. He has dead silence if he wants it. He's got Maple in his sights. Going to get the free kill. Go up through top garage. See what else he can find.
And again, this just turns the attention of Notorious in this situation, right? I mean, you're just making sure that Notorious have something to worry about in the backline so that Furious and Harry can work the middle of the map. And, well, F dot will fall, but Harry gets a kill off the back of it. Eric Boom goes down. And unfortunately for Harry, Furious goes as well. So now it needs to be a 1 versus 2 situation for Harry. He has the bomb in hand and we'll be able to get it down on A for free. And it's a good plant too. That gives them a ton of areas to look at it from. A ton of places that Notorious will have to check. Harry's just going for a wrap around the middle of the map. This is such a good play from Harry if he's able to make it happen here. Do Notorious sniff it out though before he's able to pull it off. Harry in this position, I don't think they'll expect this at all.
It's such a risky play. Yeah, just check the bomb. Nobody's on it. He's going to find Metals for free. And now if you're Weeman, you have to take this challenge. The nade's also going to connect. Harry has that information. Weeman just has to hold the irons, wait for the challenge. Harry throws the shoulder. That's all you can do. But Harry doesn't have a nade anymore. He has to run. He has to get the challenge. The angle's going to be good to keep Weeman weak, and he'll get them off the bomb. Cody Gakpo. Harry specifically with the 1v2 clutch. Things you absolutely love to see. All of this doesn't happen if F dot doesn't sneak his way into bottom Luggage and take down Maple behind Kitchen. Taking the sniper out of play was so massive. It just meant that the rest of the players for Team Notorious had no idea the potential of where some of these other players were located at. And it was risky. And extra emphasis on risky for Harry to pop dead silence, go through Luggage, and full wrap all the way through the middle of the map. That, in hindsight, obviously, Team Notorious, if they go back and watch it, they're like, oh, we could have probably hopped it now that they know that's an option. But no information aside, Cody Gakpo, keep us even.
What a search and destroy this has been so far. 4 rounds on the bounce for Notorious, 4 rounds on the bounce for the Cody Gakpo roster. And now for Notorious, straight out of the playbook is this one. A fast plant on towards A. Almost went down, but Gizmo denies. Metals in for the trade. So 3v3 we go now. Still no control over bedroom 4 Team Notorious. And that will only get worse too, as Gizmo not just gets 1 in this round, but a second on the board on towards Metals. To get this bomb down would be a hell of a feat. And now it's going to get even worse as well as F dot comes in behind. Cody Gakpo stopping that plant is crucial. But once that happens, Team Notorious, that play just falls apart.
They have flipped the lead on its head. Cody Gakpo now up on map point to tie up our best of 7 grand finals at 1 apiece. And it's this young buck of F dot who has made back-to-back heads-up plays of just sniffing out flank opportunities and just able to work his way through statue, get behind enemy lines, through lobby. And he's behind everybody in bar while they're all focused on the front, to where Cody Gakpo were able to find those first 2 eliminations. Massive stuff coming through from F dot. Whoever made that play call, you definitely got to tip your hat towards them on offense. Cody Gakpo Everybody -1 favoring towards the Chandelier side. You're going to leave one player lurking in mid.
Hail Mary play coming out from Cody Gakpo here to win the 6th round on the bounce, and they will get the first blood. They've got control of the kitchen and Notorious. They're going to hightail it towards this area of the map, but they do not have control. WeMan needs to make a hell of a play. Just get the bomb planter and get out, but no, does not stop the bomb planter going down. Does get an exit frag on towards Harry. Or excuse me, Harry will fall as well. And now a 2 versus 2. Furious inside the site. Gizmo, not that far removed too. But there you go. Metals and Maple, they win the ones. They look in completely different directions at completely different players. And they get it done. A hell of a play from Cody Gakpo, but it doesn't work.
Forcing out the round 11. Look, this is why the TAC 56 is quite fun when you're trying to retake this BS&D site, Brody. You get to wall bang all the way through those countertops, and it hurts, man. Especially when you're looking at the doubt that was thrown the way of Cody Gakpo. They saw doors open. They found that elimination on a WeMan in the corner, but the side door was what you had to immediately look at. Just double chowed through that main side door. And Team Notorious are able to tie this back up, force out the round 11. What are the sides? Team Notorious, they are slightly outslayed. They'll be on offense.
Stop the bleeding, finally, to force a round number 11. Can they win on out? Last time around, the fast plant didn't exactly work. It was a brilliant stop from Cody Gakpo to make sure it didn't go down. And it is once again Gizmo in that position, but no! WeMan, you can't be taking out Eric Boom like that. Not in a crucial moment, not in a round 11. That removes one player that could find their way in towards bedroom, but they know they still got to deal with Gizmo, and Metals will do exactly that. So something's gone in their favor, but elsewhere, the trade has been made. F-Dot takes down Maple.
Harry takes that position that Gizmo was previously in. Metals pops that silence. He's bottom fed. He's going to be behind enemy lines. Big elimination to find for themselves. And all has a double weapon set to play with. WeMan, believe went up through the stairs, top luggage. You see the player all the way in towards the back. That's going to be Furious. We'll take down Metals 1v2.
The bomb's now down as well. WeMan has to go on a retrieval mission. If Furious notices that, might well be game over. Don't know where F-Dot is at the moment. Furious playing all the way to the back of the map. WeMan hasn't seen him. He's looking for him, but Furious does what he does a couple rounds ago, all the way to the back of the map, and WeMan just never expects such a play. Well, not great. Semtex might well have just bookmarked that final round for the Team Notorious roster, as once again, it is a round 11 victory for Cody Gakpo here.
Absolutely insane. They were down 3-0. They win those 3 rounds on the balance, and then it got answered back 4-3 through another 2 rounds their way, gave themselves the lead, and forcing out the round 11 was Team Notorious. But I gotta say, this is what makes this this Cody Gakpo team just so difficult to deal with. It's something that you and I brought up on the Mercado Search and Destroy in Winners Finals, their map 2 in that best of 5 series. That mostly just suggested that the adaptations were at an all-time high. Team Notorious were getting aggressive round after round. And even when they had a 4-0 lead in their favor, it just simply was not enough to deal with Cody Gakpo, who said, all right, Team Notorious, you want to play more aggressive? That's completely fine with us. We'll pull out a third AR. We'll play all the way on the backside of Jacuzzi is Furious and just completely catch them off guard. These unforced errors that Cody Gakpo were able to collect from Team Notorious were so good.
Yeah, there was so many moments like that, especially, and I particularly like the adaptation that we saw from Cody Gakpo to get players inside bedroom. This position from Gizmo was crucial in at least 2 or 3 rounds there towards the back half of that game. That was a massive play, though, coming out from Notorious to at least not lose 6-4, of course, because Cody Gakpo then pushed their way all the way over towards B in that kind of Hail Mary round 10 play. But that was the thing that closed the game. Furious to take down WeMan, of course. Unfortunately for WeMan, had a bit of a stinker of around 11 there because he did take down Eric Boom in a not so great play. But here's a look at our final stats at the end of game number 2. Furious, once again, he's had a hell of a day, and he continues to do so here at 13-7 in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to think that Furious really is that guy. You know, when we were casting over top of him for Ultra Academy EU just last season in the Vanguard year, hell, even before Ultra Academy EU even formed, we were talking about this guy specifically for Furious through stage 1 of the Elite on Tuscan. This guy is gross. He knows where to be at the right time. He knows what adaptations he needs to pull out of his bag of tricks. And he can flip a search and destroy map on its head by himself. Damn near double positive for themselves. Damage numbers don't matter. First bloods don't even matter. Don't trust what you're seeing fully on your screen. The only thing you can trust fully is going to be the KDs. But it is just a share of the legwork coming through from Cody Gakpo. But I really got to go back and just tip my hat to those back-to-back rounds, offense and then defense alike, for F-Dot, who I want to say almost gets out of their comfort zone a little bit, and he starts pushing forward, as fast as they possibly can, just crouch walking their way behind enemy lines and making the play. Even finding that one pick onto Maple, the sniper, all the way in the backside of the kitchen half wall. Massive stuff. The same thing could be said when they push all the way through Statue, get behind Bar, be able to take down that one player on D1. Fantastic stuff to come all the way through. It just continuously forces Team Notorious guessing, is our flank fully secure in these 2v2s?
Yeah, absolutely correct, Andy. And yeah, F. I mean, what we've seen him do it in Search and Destroy before, where he is like the flanking king, if you will. Again, funny because he's been playing with attack, just to see that coming out of him. But yeah, did it there a multitude of occasions against the Notorious roster, and it works, especially towards the back half of that game. So tying up series now will be Cody Gakpo. They're now 1-1 against Team Notorious. Reminder, folks, this is the best of 7. You can see the maps below us, just how many maps we still have to go here for the rest of this grand finals. Next up, though, on the queue will be Control on Hotel. This is a map mode combination that we saw last time around between these two teams.
Yeah, and it's one that Team Notorious were able to win 3-1, being able to win that first offense by way of segment progression and then being able to close it out on their second defensive attempt just was a blistering pace that they were able to set up for themselves. It was 2 players in particular that were able to show up quite wonderfully for Team Notorious in that hotel map number 3 in Winners Finals, and that was both Metals and WeMan. WeMan has been having himself a fantastic day. Some fumbles here and there, but it's very tough to be able to gauge who's more at fault, especially for that during the Search and Destroy. But Metals needs to come back into their own of what we saw from that Fortress, map number 1, being able to slip the net, get behind enemy lines, really sniff out a lot of these different timings, and be a thorn in the side for this Cody Gakpo roster.
Yeah, indeed. WeMan is the player for me at the moment for this Team Notorious roster. I think WeMan has always been a player that I've been looking at, regardless of what roster he's on. Like last year on Team War, if you recall, Andy, like just how good he was as a player. And then right towards the end of the season, even though he didn't have the best end of the year, I think they managed to win Stage 4. But even with the Toronto Ultra EU roster, still, WeMan has always been, at least in my mind, I remember when we were having discussions for the Breaking Point top 20 players, and I was like, we should really have WeMan higher than we did. I still think in the end, he was absolutely one of the best ARs to come out of his challenges last season. So continuing that legacy here into the Modern Warfare 2 season, he is a player I think that Cody Gakpo will kind of want to shut down. And again, for me at least, the way that they do that has to be sub pressure. You have to make sure that you're getting those annoying subs in from behind. And of course, we talk about it so often, but hotel control pretty much almost always comes down to who has control of bedroom area. And who are you going to put in that bedroom area? Probably the sub players if you're Cody Gakpo.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, right? That's where you're going to want your submachine gun players to be, and even offensively as well, making sure that you have an AR to be able to overwatch that as well. I mean, if hindsight's 2020 and the perfect setup comes through for that B zone to execute, if you can have a player top bedroom, one player watching the cross from couches maybe, and then you have 2 players inside the B zone, that'd be fantastic. But again, that is just all just aces if you can get that B zone set up itself. But yeah, the big tussle over by that B zone could be made or broken by who has bedroom control.
All right, well, we'll see how this control goes. Right off the rip here, it will be Cody Gakpo starting things off on the offense. Eric B wants to get hyper-aggressive towards that bedroom side, but that's a wave of gunfights going the way of Cody Gakpo, and as far as B is concerned, it all falls on the shoulders of Metals, and how about this for a start from Cody Gakpo, forcing Notorious to spawn out over towards Spa. They're going to get a wealth of progression on B. The stack coming through might well mean that the full capture comes on through as well, and it will. What a great heads-up play call coming from Cody Gakpo. They get the wipe, and they get the stack immediately going.
The shades of that map 3 and lower finals versus Elevate. They just go for B immediately. They win the opening engagements. It's a 5-for-8 start, favoring that of the offense of Cody Gakpo. And they're already knocking on the door of by 3 dead. Well, look at where Team Notorious are spawning all the way behind the C-Dom flag. They got the stack in tow. If they find themselves 2 eliminations, this offense is completely fallen by the wayside.
Gizmo watching the middle of the map here, already getting that one supporting gunfight through. Cody Gakpo, though, not ready for Maple to come from Spa's side. It's not a capture just yet, although it might be if Gizmo can find the second there, but not able to get it done. I thought we were staring down the barrel there, Andy, at one of the fastest control rounds we've seen in challenges this season thus far, but nonetheless, 2 ticks of progression, only 1 required now with 1 minute 40 on the clock for Cody Gakpo to capture A and win out the offensive victory. This is going to be tough for Notorious to hold because all it will take is 1 good offensive push, and they might well have that as Furious is in from behind. But I think the best thing for Furious to do here, Annie, is just wait. Don't get antsy. Don't try and get over-aggressive.
You have to stay there inside of shops if you are Furious, right? Because you can see where all of Team Notorious are spawning so long as they can find eliminations inside the zone. Now it comes down to Maple. Be able to find this elimination. Furious will beam him with the Vaznev. Now you need to start flying for this last segment. There's a 2-player stack coming through. Can anybody get there in time? The answer is no. Cody Gakpo blistering pace coming out over by the B zone as quick as you like, able to get that zone conversion off their opening push, and then immediately converted that into rotational battles through the atrium and get inside the A zone for 2 segments of progression. That is a pick and choose battle. It's so hard to be able to fully defend a single segment over by A, especially with how proactive Cody Gakpo, specifically Furious, was to pick up the flank and get past Chandelier inside of shops and forcing Team Notorious to spawn all the way in the southeast side.
You know, Andy, I got to say, you and I, as casters, we both agreed that it is a moment of euphoria for us, right? You know, that the brain cells go when we see a team stacking the point when they've actually got 4 down.
Love it.
You love to see that out of Cody Gakpo there. Big reason why they're able to win round number 1. But we obviously know that this map is the one that is the easiest to get the offensive victories on. Notorious could well answer back with an offensive victory here, but it isn't quite as clean as Cody Gakpo's was in the prior round, down to the fact that Gizmo is still holding on to things over by B, still causing problems. Another kill now coming through from F. That's Maple that will fall. WeMan goes down as well. And Notorious, they will spawn over towards A now. Just one more player looking over towards B. That is going to be Eric Boom. But actually, to be fair, the kill feed will yellow momentarily here, and Notorious have a few options.
Oh, Furious played that 1v1 versus Eric so wonderfully, just making sure that Eric could not encroach towards the guitar case to maybe try to get on that B zone and stall out that clock. 23 plays up against 23, but you look at the clock, 36 seconds remaining, and it's going to force Team Notorious's hand to give up B for now and just try to stack on A.
Yeah, the best idea. I think if you're Notorious, they're actually going to go for a slow cap here, just in case they can kind of get their chips down on B, because of course they know that they're going to get close spawns towards A, even if they do fall in this scenario. But things might not go so well unless you can get the kills if you're Metals, but Metals only able to get 1. Furious still alive over here, could still cause the problems for Notorious on that A kit, but finally will end up falling. So Notorious still slowly but surely capturing 8. A 1v1 potentially on the cards here if Harry decides to actually go for it. Instead, he wants mid-map control, and the call will be made from Eric Boom that, hey, somebody's trying to get control of the middle of the map. Metals is absolutely reactive to that. Does get that kill on towards Harry. And now for Notorious, finally that A capture comes through, and now going to be able to position themselves for the B cap.
Yeah, it's the right call, right, for Cody Gakpo to completely concede the A zone and try to play for a couple eliminations through the middle of the map. But the issue is that they didn't put themselves in positions to be able to win those gunfights. So now Team Notorious finding eliminations, top bedroom, through the atrium as well. They got the stack in tow. F. has so much work to do. Oh, that's not helpful.
Team nade coming out from Gizmo. That is not helpful. Those teammates have been so damning so far in this series, and they'll be even more so. We said it. This is the map where you're going to be seeing offensive victories galore. Team Notorious, they make it happen here off the back of that wave of gunfights. It felt so quick, didn't it? The way that they just able to entrench themselves inside the bar area. And again, it's the stack. It's things you love to see.
Yeah, it just, again, comes down to when that A zone was being fully tacked on over, when you are Cody Gakpo and they go back and they rewatch that, just their setup on the rotation was just so lackluster. I mean, you had a player in double arches, you had one maybe over by statue, there were a couple players over by the bar, but nobody in a tradable position. Allowed Team Notorious to find the middle of the map eliminations and then just work their way over towards B. And they thought that maybe Cody Gakpo might be trying for B once again on the offense. Well, they would read correctly.
It's the right play, of course. You know, B, you want to get out of the way pretty quickly here. Team Notorious, last time around, they got wiped and they subsequently lost the point. Furious wants to make that happen again, isn't able to do so decisively this time around. As a matter of fact, it will be Team Notorious that actually start things off pretty strongly. 5 in a row from one player there who I believe has already been shut down. So no streaks earned from Team Notorious, but they've got a couple of players armed towards this A side. WeMan, one of those players just outside Rugs, just inside Connector, that will finally get shut down. Of course, Eric on the point also falls, but I do love this from Notorious. They're just trying to cause all of these problems for Cody Gakpo at the moment. And again, Maple, another one of those players who does actually have a cruise missile in his back pocket.
Yeah, that's right. Probably won't be seeing that utilized maybe until round 5, or if this one completely goes haywire over by the B zone. Gotta be careful here, though, if you are Team Notorious. I mean, they're still trying to fight for this A zone, and I don't understand why. You had yourself about a 2-3 life lead. You lost a handful of players, and yeah, the A zone's going to be tacked over. You can get the B zone set up, but it's just throwing away lives when it's not necessary to do so. So much work to do in the back. Is Eric Boom snapping and piecing onto Gizmo? So there's one more player inside a statue, but those 2 eliminations that Eric Boom found in the back will let everything come to a very calm rest.
Good kills coming out from Team Notorious now as they do stabilize, as you say. A small mistake made here on the rotation to defending B. But nonetheless, they have stabilized and now looking to defend the point. Cody Gakpo, though, looking to get players in the back line. They've got 3 on the flank. How about this for a heavy-handed push in from behind? They know they can't get bedroom control just yet, so why not just do it? But they might have some heroics. Somehow, Furious has managed to make his way in the bedroom, takes out one player. There's still one more to deal with at least. Eric Boom also on the other side. Eric Boom also on the other side for 2. Still, though, 2 players from Cody Gakpo to deal with. It's going to be both F-Dot and Gizmo, the latter of which has fallen. F-Dot goes as well. Notorious almost let a massive chunk of progression slip there, but only 1 tick will end up going Cody Gakpo's way.
Eric Boom putting on his big boy pants, finding these 2 pieces, keeping things at bay. Minute and 5 left to play, 12v14, numbers favoring the defense, big gunfight coming through. WeMan will take down F-Dot, but top bedroom control will at least be maintained for Maple for now. You have to start recognizing this if you are Team Notorious. There's not a whole lot of battles happening top and bottom bedroom. You know they're on the flank.
Here they come, Cody Gakpo once again, and they've got 1 player coming from luggage side as well. As long as you get rid of Maple here, this should be okay for Cody Gakpo. They know where Maple is located. He's not going to get overzealous, though. Just trying to buy some time for his team. But do they actually have time? That's the question. They've got the second tick progression through. Harry will end up falling. Furious goes down too. And the second attempt is good for Cody Gakpo. They get that second tick of progression. Now only 1 remaining, but you're in a 5 versus 10.
His team shots between Maple and Metals, top and bottom garage, a single respawn remaining, now no respawns remaining. WeMan has 2 weapons to be playing with. Harry goes for the challenge, thought that WeMan was going to go for the reload. Not the case at all. 3 plays up against 10, 18 seconds remaining. If you can find some eliminations, get closer towards streaks, that'd be great. But this is a Herculean effort left here for Furious and F-Dot to convert this offense.
Yeah, F-Dot needs to get at least 1 there in that scenario. It's just not going to happen. So for Furious, I think the best thing you could do is maybe catch either Maple or Eric Boom off one of those streaks, but not able to get it done in the end. Cody Gakpo, despite a couple of really good efforts on the point, I think it's Team Notorious able to save on out. Eric Boom, one of those crucial plays, and this was another one coming out from Maple to make sure that nobody managed to make their way past that 50-yard line towards the point. So Notorious, hold strong. It will not be an offensive victory here.
11 segments versus the 6 that Cody Gakpo were able to get on their opening offense. So you have a tale of 2 evils here if you are Team Notorious. You win the offense, great. You win the map. But if you only find yourself those 5 segments, you better hope that you have more eliminations at this moment in time. I'm not a mathematician scientist. Don't ask me to add up all these numbers. Eric Boom's going to pop that silence. He's actually on a 4-speed right now. Keep in mind, Maple still has that cruise missile in his back pocket.
Indeed he does. So they could use that if they really wanted to try and secure one of these points. Now, though, it's just going to be trades that they'll be relying on. I think they know that that isn't quite enough to get influence over B just yet. Those players will be spawning up towards Spa. I'm Furious now, making his way in through the middle of the map. Look at this aggression coming out from Gizmo. I'm not entirely sure I agree with that play at all. Was really focused on making sure that they removed Maple from the plate. Instead, ends up falling, and now that might open the door here for Notorious. Maybe not if Furious has anything to say about it. He's able to take down WeMan, and rather crucially, Cody Gakpo do not allow those close spawns on A to come in at all.
Worst case scenario turn even further disastrous for Team Notorious. 35 seconds remaining. You're down by 3 lives, but it's starting to get mitigated. Big 4 dead coming through. Now you can get on towards the B zone. Need some more assistance. Somebody needs to get inside top bedroom right now. Cody Gakpo almost assumed that they were going to be coming through the middle of the map, but it's in fact going to be a 2-player stack. 3 players now over by B.
You got to get going. If you got to get going right now, if you're Cody Gakpo, this flank from Furious has to hurry up. You got to pick up the pace here. If you're Cody Gakpo, it doesn't matter. There you go. Harry and Gizmo combine for 3. And now with 30 seconds left here, 2 ticks of progression made for Team Notorious. The first wave of gunfights will coming through off the back of that. So they can breathe a sigh of relief. There's nobody from Cody Gakpo inside kitchen to make sure they spawn all the way to the back of the map. But now for Team Notorious, still things looking pretty good here. They're swinging from wall to wall. They're splitting their efforts between A and B. Metal still being a pain in the backside on the B zone. Finally does get taken down. But again, Team Notorious actually in a pretty good spot here because they should take A, and they've already got 2 ticks down on B.
Yeah, no, that's a big brain play coming through. Maple just sits on the A zone, slowly tacks it over. We'll be joined with Eric Boom to make that 3rd segment come all the way through. Throughout all of that chaos and destruction, Team Notorious have mitigated that 6 life lead that Cody Gakpo had at the beginning of this round. But now everything resets through the middle of the map. Maple, inside of Cutout, is going to end up pulling out the cruise missile. Not going to be able to find much of anything besides information. Nobody was even in position for Team Notorious, maybe to try to capitalize off the top of that. But they are top bedroom trying to find these elims.
I was just thinking information is maybe all they were looking for in that cruise missile. Regardless, now those trades starting to go down off the back of it. 55 seconds now on the clock. Furious, you got to remove him if you're Notorious from this bedroom area. He is the problem. He is the reason that you're not spawning up over towards luggage. And that is a great read from Furious that somebody is top bedroom. WeMan ends up falling. And now for Notorious, they don't really care about Furious in the position. They think they can deal with him. Now the trade's starting to go on down. It's a sliver of progression made on that third and final tick on B. Maple wants to force it a little bit further. Yep. And Furious actually falls. Now you can stack the point. You can win it here. And you do exactly that. If you're Notorious, they don't care about Furious in those closing moments. What a great play.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic stuff, right? I mean, you had Furious top bedroom, like you were talking about, had a hell of a read. Maybe FDOT was able to at least get that information that there was one player top bedroom. But I mean, hey, you find the eliminations up front, you find the trades through the middle of the map. WeMan is able to get over towards info if things start getting a little bit further awry. But even more so than that, I mean, 14 Notorious, I mean, just wonderful stuff as a whole for them to be able to recognize their opportunity for success. As we were talking about, that first initial push, not successful. The moment that they were able to get those 2 segments over by B was that much better because it just left that Maple was over by the A zone by themselves, keeping the clock stalled out, that if the push over by B was unsuccessful, they were at least guaranteed that that extra 60 seconds. But even more so than that, while the A zone was being converted, Cody Gakpo, with their 4 life lead or so, completely lost it. And Team Notorious were able to find transitional gunfights in their favor, that it just takes a single opportunity for an offensive team to be able to find 2-3 dead and then to push up over by the B zone and get that stack to convert that final segment of progression. Wonderfully executed from Team Notorious in those final few moments.
I think the thing is, you really cannot underestimate just how important those 2 ticks of progression actually are, right? It forces players to make bad plays, and I'm sure we'll see that as we get further into the replay package, at least later down the line. Because again, you know, Furious, I think he was the player that the first push forward, he had to make a move in that final round. He absolutely had to grab the kill. Just couldn't do it because of the situation that he was in. So regardless, Team Notorious going to win on out there with a 3-1 victory over Cody Gakpo. We can take a look at the end of game stats. Big performance coming out from WeMan at 28 and 23. Eric Boom also 23 and 21. And I think the key stat line for me, if I was to pick anything from this, is probably Eric Boom. Not only is he 23 and 21, but 14 of those kills are non-traded.
Yeah, I mean, the SMGs on both sides really showed up in a big way. You know, Furious only beating Eric by a single elimination, but the biggest difference maker, again, was WeMan. It's like I was talking about, especially coming away from that winners finals matchup to here in grand finals for the replay, if you will, of Hotel Control Map 3. Was the fact that WeMan was pivotal in the success to be able to set up what was medals in that map 3 for winners finals. Eric Boom steps up in that massive way to be able to find those transitional eliminations, pick up off the damage that WeMan was laying down. You just can't ask for a better duo to be able to execute on towards one of these zones on Greenberg Hotel.
Yeah, Notorious now looking pretty good after that control victory. They retake control of the series after a search and destroy that they were in the lead and they ended up losing it against Cody Gakpo. Now they're back in the driving seat for this one. 2-1 up over the Cody Gakpo roster. They're looking for a victory, just 2 more maps, and they will get it done and be your Cup 3 champions. We have Hardpoint on Hotel once again up next. Before we get there, though, we're going to do a very quick break. When we return, it's going to be Hardpoint on Hotel. Excuse me. Don't go anywhere. Well, that was the shortest break in the world, guys. We're back here with the hard point on Hotel. Once again, the triple biller of Hotel will conclude here in Notorious. They've got the better of Cody Gakpo on at least the last map. Can they now extend their series advantage to 3-1 over the Cody Gakpo roster? Well, we shall see. Into the hard point we go, Andy, and Team Notorious, they will be the first to touch.
This was map 1 in winners finals, of which Team Notorious were able to only win by 2 points. It came down to the absolute wire, and it's a lot of kill feeds that look just like that. Big 3-for-1s coming all the way through. Team Notorious sitting pretty darn pretty. You still have 27 seconds before they have to fully push all the way through. Metals is going to be able to find at least 1 elimination through double arches, but not enough legwork, not enough room to be able to fully flood in towards the P2 area.
I like this overextension now coming out from Metals, though. He might be able to get him past Furious. He hasn't actually noticed not just him, but also Eric Boom, who has gotten past. And frankly, Harry and Gizmo just don't expect that whatsoever. That is so unfortunate. Call of Duty time, and I have to watch that one back after this game to see how on earth that one happened. But Furious is going to be annoyed with himself, and I think there's going to be a bit of confusion in the comms as to how on earth that happened at all, because now Notorious have flipped the one advantage that Cody Gakpo had. They hadn't given up their spawn on towards P2. Now ready to go here for the next, and WeMan is already starting very, very strong with 5 in a row.
I mean, Eric has more eliminations than everybody on Cody Gakpo combined. Gizmo starting 0-6 now. These are your things that you absolutely hate to see. FDOT needs to show up in a big way. He does have some assistance. You can see where the spawns are coming in for Cody Gakpo. They're in towards the back. 30 seconds left to fight for, and I think Team Notorious might just try to knock at the door one more time. It was just going to be Maple that would throw an attempt at it, but you have a really good lead so far after 2 hard points. You just chalk it, set up through Atrium, try to get yourself over by 4.
Yeah, it's got to be honest as well. If it wasn't for those spawns, this scoreline would not be very nice to Cody Gakpo whatsoever. They got the spawns in the backline where arguably they frankly shouldn't have done. So Team Notorious now in a good position still here in this game. Again, rotation in their hands. Eric being ready for somebody to push through freezers, and F Dot does exactly that. They will now have a fair bit of time to breathe here. Calm before the storm, before Notorious or before Cody Gakpo get anywhere near close to the hard point. One player in the middle of the map, that's going to be Metals, who is covering that mid-map area. It's a problem that Cody Gakpo will need to deal with before they move anywhere. And Metals is still alive here in the middle of the map as well. There's a player right above him, that's going to be Furious, who finally does take him out of the equation. 20 seconds wasted, though, there by Metals. And now, one player looking to contest. I think it's F Dot inside freezers, just trying to waste some time for the rest of the team to move through Restaurant. They just can't get through at the moment. Team Notorious looking so hot on the defense here.
Eric Boom is 11-2. 12-7 combined between the 2 ARs of Maple and Weeman, and they are not slowing down at all. 3 kills finally come through, but you're just down to about 12 seconds, and the hard point completely goes neutral. That means that nobody's going to be spawning essentially over by it. You can see the spawns now for Team Notorious. They're essentially on the bottom side of this parking garage. They're going to be looking for top bedroom control. Furious does not want them to get in that power position ahead of this rotation.
Yeah, these are massive gunfights coming through there. Furious doing a stellar job, at least getting a couple of frags before Notorious can find their way forward. They will spawn pretty close, as you say, towards this bedroom side. Gizmo, though, he's ready for it. Picks up not 1, not 2, but 3 kills on the bar hardpoint. Harry also now starting to pick up some kills too, but they're not going to account for the rogue spawn coming through in the backline. Eric Boom could well blow this entire play up. That's exactly what he does. 2 players down, 2 more to go. F-Dot is ready for the push through. Again, another player spawning in the backline now, though. That's going to be Maple, who manages to find his way through the hard point. Furious, can he do anything about this? No is the answer. And Notorious off the back of Eric spawning towards the back there. Have no idea how that happened. Will get into the hard point and take away time from Cody Gakpo.
Yeah, these new spawns are just very, very head-scratching. The only player that truly does know it is Parasite. That's why he's the first pick to nades all the time. And, well, hey, that Parasite fella, he did play with Team Notorious. Might have given them a little bit of an inkling on how these spawns might end up working. Regardless of the matter, Cody Gakpo need to start piecing it together. It's about a 60-point lead going in towards this restaurant hardpoint. You already have 1 player here that's going to be Metals, 4 dead. This is the best look that Cody Gakpo have looked at to generate time since the beginning of this game.
This needs to be a good hardpoint for Cody Gakpo here. You've got to say it right. Team Notorious, they've got themselves a massive lead off the back of the first few kills in this game. Perhaps now Cody Gakpo can get a full 60 off the back of the restaurant hardpoint. Weeman, though, that might be the dagger here for this one, as Eric Boom also able to get another one. 35 seconds left on the clock here, and we see the flip of the hardpoint control. Eric's still going, by the way. Finally does get shut down there by Furious, but not before Notorious get another couple of players in towards the hardpoint. Gizmo wants to put a stop to that pretty much right about now. Metals is going to trade on that out, but regardless, great plays coming out now from F-Dot inside the hard point, inside the scrap time, as Cody Gakpo will get the back 20 or so. Not the end of the world for Team Notorious here in this position. They've got the rotation from new.
Yeah, it's a solid 50, a required 50, I would say, for Cody Gakpo coming away from the restaurant hardpoint. Now we rotate over towards the top side of parking garage where, you guessed it, there's already players on the backside of Jacuzzi. F-Dot needed to piece something together there. The car explodes. The Semtex will claim their life. Maple will find 2. 11-12 for them now. They have slowed up considerably, but that doesn't mean that they're done quite yet. Look at the spawn, still fully in effect here. Furious is down low. There's a trophy system keeping everybody alive up top. Oh, Furious is 2-piece, coupled that along with F-Dot. It's just one more player up top. It's going to be Maple on a 4 spree, looking for number 5. Won't be able to find it. The break is in.
Yeah, break is in now for Cody Gakpo. Again, another crucial amount of time that they will be taking away from Notorious and ideally getting themselves as well. It is just the 1 player in the hard point at the moment, and I think Eric Boom is about to ruin their day trying to fire through the wall and not able to get the kill. Nice supporting gunfire coming through from F-Dot. He will be looking for the last 20 seconds or so, but Andy, I gotta say, this was a disastrous hard point not that long ago for Cody Gakpo. They have basically forced their way back into the game with a good restaurant kill and off a good break on the last 2. So Team Notorious now just a small lead going into the second set. Weeman, he's ready to go here to just make sure that Cody Gakpo don't get anywhere close to this new hill.
Yeah, it's back to square one, essentially, for Team Notorious. The difference in between the first set and now is that it is Team Notorious on the favorite side of the map, but there needs to be some assistance inside of the atrium. Cannot do it alone if you are Maple. Help has arrived by name of Weeman. Big 3 kills coming through in favor of Team Notorious. That means they're going to be up quite wonderfully here inside of the atrium, knowing especially where these shots are coming from. It's all going to be from the restaurant side. If flank starts manifesting itself, it's Harry and Gizmo from behind. Need to be able to clean up these kills a whole lot quicker so that way they can maintain those P2 spawns.
WeMan's still going, by the way. That's 3 for a WeMan. Goodness gracious me. That is incredible. The good news, though, for Cody Gakpo, they do have the rotation towards next. This is not something they had on that last rotation. You've got to remember that Notorious came through and absolutely just swatted it away from them down to some bad timing for Furious. Not going to happen this time around. With 10 seconds left, with only about 30 points to make the difference between these two teams, it should be Cody Gakpo in control of P2. Now it's a matter of holding it. As Notorious looking to burst their way through the satellite site. Metals is over here. WeMan in tow 2. Gizmo ready to take these guys out if they do attempt to make their way along the back line. And well, the first wave of kills will be through. And Cody Gakpo, short of getting stuffed by the spawns, they should be good here.
What a fantastic setup for P2. I mean, Harry over by the bar really did stop that flank that was starting to be put together over by for Maple that was pushing up through the B control zone. So now we're down to 30 seconds. We're going to be looking at a lead swap. If Team Notorious do not break it here, one last player is left alive. It's going to be Maple. WeMan might give a good old Scholars try, maybe to try to contest for some scrap time. No, all of Team Notorious actually are trying to really throw their hands at it, and they're just going to allow Maple to try to make the long route happen all the way over towards Kitchen. Unsuccessful to break for scrap time. Cody Gakpo take the lead.
Yeah, rotate here. Just rotate here if you're Team Notorious. This is the money kill of the map. Make sure that you do get control of Kitchen. Metals is ready for some of these early gunfights. Good read to make sure that you take out F. from Ruggs before he can do the damage of the early routes that we know he is absolutely capable of. But Cody Gakpo, they will take a bit of time to make their way on towards the flank. Here it comes. Furious. Gizmo. F. They're all here. The entirety of the Cody Gakpo roster, effectively, of Harry on the other side too. The first kill has already gone the way of F. in terms of making sure that you do get control of this hill. But Maple, it's Eric Boom. They're all ready for it. Furious is still here, though. Eric Boom looking to deal with it. He's able to get one. There it is. Maple and Eric Boom once again holding on. There is a player that spawned out over towards the chandelier side. But again, this hill is so hard to break. Team Notorious, they're still looking to hold on towards Metal. Metal's just outside the hill, has a couple more players to deal with. It's Metals and Eric Boom inside for 2. It's Maple, though, who will continue to streak out. That's 4 in a row for him. A 3-piece finally falls, but it is only for scrap time for Cody Gakpo.
It'll still keep this game dead even. 2-11 to 2-11 if all the scrap time gets soaked up by Harry. And look at the rotation going over towards the bar. You have 2 players that are over here. It's F. and Furious trying to put in the legwork. They know that there's one player on the backside of the spot that's going to be Eric Boom. Furious takes them down. But you still have numbers in towards the bar area. The biggest issue is that Harry's coming off of ult. He's trying to go for top ed.
Harry could really be the breaker of this hard point for Cody Gakpo. It might not need to be fair, as Gizmo picks up one of the kills already there, but trades are in for Team Notorious. They're not done just yet. They'll continue to spawn in that backline, and yeah, you say it. Get the tone of your voice there, Andy, because Team Notorious could still well finish it here on this hard point. All they've got to do is make sure that Cody Gakpo do not break in, and they might well do so. Metals still has a lot to do here. 2 kills in his favor, but they don't quite count for F. being there. And now Cody Gakpo, they can no longer finish it here, regardless of what happens. Neither can Team Notorious anymore. A rotation will be on the cards.
In the middle of the map is already being consumed by Cody Gakpo. You have so many players inside the atrium. Big trades coming through over by the double arches. There's so more players trying to threaten this. It's going to be Furious. Big elimination coming through from Metals. And now all of this team, Maple as well as Metals, can push through the restaurant, try to get themselves set up. You still have one player at ult. That's F. That's mutual information. And there's actually one player that spawns all the way out. It's going to be Harry. Team Notorious need to recognize this.
The pinch coming through. They do get rid of Gizmo at the very least, but do they realize that Harry and Furious are still pretty close by? Now all those players spawning up on the satellite side. Team Notorious, they've got to be ready for this push. Do they have anybody watching that left side? That's the question. Yes, they do. Eric Boom recognizes it, takes down Gizmo. F. falls as well. Nobody from Cody Gakpo is touching that point, and Team Notorious with the final break and hold, able to get it done. A much closer hard point than we thought it would be, especially after a blazing start from Notorious.
I remember when Team Notorious had about like a 60-70 point lead in the first set of hard points. I remember. But I mean, hey, it's also got to be talked about that Gizmo really did turn that game around. I mean, he was like somewhere near like 0-6. I think he was close to like joining the agency, ends 23-29. Definitely put in the work there towards the latter half of that hotel hard point. But even more so than that, I mean, just the constant slaying prowess that Eric Boom has been bringing to the table on the hotel control and now the hotel hard point is just at an all-time high. It is a blistering pace to try to deal with when Eric Boom is feeling himself. You can even see through a lot of these different highlights This is not just a one-man army. Keep in mind, you WeMan, of course it's going to be him. He's just laying down so much damage. And where it's not WeMan, that other longer line of sight, well, it's being watched by Maple. And just, again, where you think you're dealing with the pressure of either WeMan or Maple in these longer lines of sight, Eric Boom is probably in the mix as well for the hard point, and Metals is on the flank. Yeah, Metals didn't have as sexy as a KD ratio as their SMG counterpoint of Eric Boom, but the pressure was absolutely there.
Yeah, I think, you know, it comes out of the conversation that we've been talking about before, right, with Team Notorious. What worked previously for this roster, you know, the very same roster that won Challengers Cup #1, hasn't changed because Furious is no longer on the roster. Metals is effectively playing the exact same role as Furious. You've got the ARs doing what they need to do to make sure they cover the right areas of the map, and Eric Boom just kind of filling those cracks, just making sure you're being that annoying player, finding the routes for Cody Gakpo that they weren't able to deal with there in that game. So Team Notorious, it is a much closer one than they expected, but nonetheless, they're able to take it 250 to 241 in the end. We can show you guys the stats then at the end of that game. And yeah, I think you already said it right. Eric Boom is just that annoying player to deal with. 32 and 22. Once again, I mean, it's pretty much the exact same story from the last game where it's 24 kills, non-traded. You've got to deal with Eric Boom. You've got to make sure he's not doing that.
I mean, it's just crazy, right? Because, I mean, you look at the combined 4 minutes of OBJ time in between Maple and Eric. If you deal with one of them, you best find the second, because if you deal with Maple, Eric's also in there, probably playing a head glitch, and is just ready to get that trade. If you deal with Eric, Maple's probably there as well, playing a head glitch, making the reads happen to be able to find that trade. But again, it has to be talked about. Those 17 non-traded kills that WeMan was able to find, the 3,500 damage that they were able to find as well, just really pays dividends for how annoying Team Notorious are on a hard point.
Indeed, Notorious now 3-1 up in this best of 7. If it was a best of 5, they would have closed it out right there. But nonetheless, the new rules are not going to allow that, are they? We're going to a search and destroy on Fortress in this one. Again, this is one we didn't actually get to see it in the last best of 5 between these two teams. This is a new map mode combination for this grand final. Nonetheless, though, again, Notorious, they're looking so good at the moment, Andy.
Yeah, we're going over towards a Fortress search and destroy at that. This is something that we did not see these two teams play up against in that winners finals matchup. So kind of waters that we have not treaded so far to see how these two teams do stack up against one another. But I mean, when you're looking at the grander scheme of things, the big picture, if you will, is that this entire team of Team Notorious are just aggressive incarnate, especially through search and destroy. If there's one thing we can take away from that map #2, that 6-5 loss from Team Notorious' standpoint, is that all they like to do is to get aggressive and make you feel incredibly uncomfortable. What Cody Gakpo were able to do quite wonderfully through that map too, Brody, to answer and to adapt against that aggression, was just kind of give them the space, wait for the engagements to come to them. Map like Fortress for search and destroy could benefit that playstyle so wonderfully.
Yeah, the thing is for Fortress for me is, right, obviously it's kind of very hard for the defensive side to make sure the bomb doesn't go down to A. That is always the problem, I think, for the defensive side on a map like Fortress, Search and Destroy. And the solution that many teams, I think the one that always stands out to me is like LAG Academy, that was so good at this map mode combination at Raleigh, and even kind of the tournaments that preceded that, was getting a player inside munitions. And that is always going to be that roaming sub player. For Team Notorious, I think, you know, Metals has been playing that role really well this series thus far. He is going to be that player, if anybody, that's going to be that annoying player trying to get inside munitions. Of course, there are other strategies as well, overwhelming teams on the offense, or by just basically running straight in towards the Gallows bomb site and just hoping that it will work out. We've seen that a couple of times as well from teams on the defense. There are strategies that are being more and more created, but for me at least, Andy, I feel like this is going to come down to, can you get your SMG players in from behind? Can you just make those players really annoying? And we've discussed it time and time again as well, right? In regards to these teams, we're talking about SMG pressure. These guys have it in spades.
Yeah, SMGs inside of Art can be very annoying to deal with. That's where you see a lot of players pick up that third AR and, well, maybe even put themselves all the way into the backside of the scaffolding, a position that you don't really see too many players play, you know, outside of maybe trying to hold the rotation for an L-Bag or Fortress hardpoint, or even trying to make sure that the flank is secured for control. But in Search and Destroy, that one person over inside of scaffolding can shut down the flank and can also shut down the push that can come through the pillar side outside of Art. Something that could also be talked about as well are all the wallbang spots, especially through the wooden doorways that do lead towards the Gallows. That's where you can see snipers really come out to play. If there's one person in particular in this lobby that loves to get very wily and aggressive with a sniper, look no further than Jack Siggy Maple. You know he's probably going to pull it out a round or two.
Yeah, and on the other hand, right, you've got players that are pretty much all capable of running sniper rifles, depending on the situation, although it's probably going to be Harry or Gizmo that pull it out here. Yeah, I haven't even thought about that. Yeah, that sniper battle is going to be something that we've kind of talked about a lot. Although, in a way, it's kind of funny because we've talked about sniper rifles on Fortress S&D before. Teams have also been more and more edging towards putting those sniper rifles away because it's less successful. Of course, generally speaking, you see the sniper rifle player playing under the door. On the defensive side, that's where you're going to see the sniper more often than not. I think teams have found more value in just playing a little bit more aggressively on the defensive side. So I'm kind of curious as to whether or not we see a sniper at all, or in some rounds, maybe in some rounds we don't. Not too sure kind of what the composition is going to be looking like here for Cody Gakpo and Team Notorious. Again, this is our first time seeing Fortress S&D for these guys today. So we shall see. I do want to see Maple with a sniper rifle though. I think that's like, it's always like a fun thing. It's just like whenever Maple is in the search and destroy, I just want to see him play with a sniper rifle because he is so good. He's like the best Modern Warfare sniper. You remember like Modern Warfare, the 2019 season? Or
the Singularity
season,
Maple on
Singularity
Peak,
Maple,
just pulling out the sniper rifle across that long trench side and then also cross-mapping people with a pistol. Yeah, no, I remember. I still have PTSD from that Arclock Peak. Trust me, there's a lot of things that Team Singularity give me PTSD about when it comes down to that map mode combination. Regardless of the matter, yeah, I think that Maple will be that guy that'll probably pull out the sniper first. If there's one thing that Maple historically has done throughout their tenure of playing competitive Call of Duty, it's pulling out the sniper when it feels like it's an unorthodox position to be able to pull it out. Because if he finds value with it, Brody, it kind of lives in the enemy's head rent-free, that you have to almost give respect for that longer line of sight. And then that opens up the floodgates for so many different positions for TAC 56s or SMGs to be able to then take that ground and get in your face.
Yeah, indeed. And we should note as well, I do remember this. I don't know why I remember this. This is the final map which Team Notorious were able to beat Elevate on in the very first Challengers Cup of the season. That went all the way to a game number 7, and it was a Fortress S&D that did split the difference between these two teams. There was like a restart in the middle of it. I do remember that much after a couple of players lagged out or whatever, and we had a bit of a back and forth about that. But nonetheless, it was a Fortress S&D they were able to win out on. Have things changed with Metals on the roster? I think the team's looking pretty good. Again, that was a big conversation point, I think, in regards to today. Again, this cup, I think you and I at the very least are looking at this as in, how are the teams post-WrestleMania looking? We saw a little bit of them from the qualifier. Now this is really our first full course of action from all of these post-WrestleMania teams. Team Notorious looking pretty good with Metals on the roster, Andy. And I think for Cody Gakpo as well, this brand new roster, also I think they'll be pretty happy with today.
It also needs to be talked about because, again, I mean, like, you have the Elite Series all in, like, a few days. So, like, you need to be looking at what search and destroy practice are you actually looking at. This is where the elite teams find themselves with the most practice, is inside of these cups.
Indeed, it will be. Well, Team Notorious just one search and destroy victory away from taking this series and cup number 3 in their favor. Things not going so hot, though, at the beginning of this search and destroy, as look at Cody Gakpo getting hyper aggressive on the offense. Didn't even want to get the bomb down, running straight down that main street and just getting those first bloods.
Agri Fortress, everybody, for search and destroy. Get the eliminations in the middle of the map, get the information. Bing, bang, boom. You find 4 eliminations. Who cares about the OBJ at that point? Just play 4v4 TDM. Why not? Smile. You made it. Cody Gakpo, though, that's a great first round to find for themselves, being the aggressor first and foremost on offense. That's something that we'll typically end up seeing from Team Notorious. I think that we saw Maple actually load into that round with the search with a sniper rifle, so we'll have to see any adaptations to come soon after.
Well, Cody Gakpo starting with aggression and vigor in round number 1. Will we see a response to the like from Team Notorious on the offense in round number 2? We had the question about whether or not Maple will be running that sniper rifle. That is exactly what he's doing, making sure no players get hyper aggressive on towards A. It's that play that we were talking about earlier when the defensive side overwhelmed the A site. That's what Maple is playing for at this moment in time. Of course, under the door on the other side, though, will be Harry. He will recognize this bomb is going down.
Bomb planted. Eric playing behind the stage. It's very wall bangable. F-Dot more than aware of it. Just the sniper in towards the back line. Furious will throw a shoulder. Now it's up to Maple. 1v3 with a boomstick, and he is just kind of hung out to dry. There's just nowhere to go. Nothing you could possibly do whatsoever. F-Dot will find that final elimination. Will put themselves up on 3 in a row. Not too sure what happened with Gizmo. It could be just me, a podcaster bug, but he is 4-0.
Yeah. I don't know about that one, Chief.
Yeah. I mean, did he get TK'd? No. There's no way. Got 2 eliminations in the last round.
Maybe we're just being silly here. I don't know.
No, you are for sure silly. I don't know. I didn't see a TK. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Well, regardless. Anyway, Now 2-0 up there, our Cody Gakpo, great retake coming through again. That pressure on towards Maple. You had the sniper rifle in play. Again, it's the information. You know that Maple's going to be running the sniper rifle in that 1 versus 3. You know that you could just overwhelm him. That backline, such an advantage of the information that we see. Now though, Cody Gakpo looking for the bomb plant on towards A. Notorious, they've got a couple of players through, and well, Furious lands a nade, or whatever that was, right in front of him, and it will actually tag him as well. I swear, though, Gizmo has drawn the first blood against Metals. Over-aggression will be punished here from Team Notorious. And now, as a matter of fact, I think Cody Gakpo should be able to get the bomb down.
It's 3v3. There's so much more that you have to clear. I mean, Eric's still piecing people in the back line, throws a shoulder, gets the information on the Gizmo, and now Harry Gizmo separated. 2v3 situation, 47 seconds left to play, and Gizmo might just be overwhelmed here, but Eric Boom just caught mid-tack sprint. Will be forcing out a 2v2.
Still going to pick that bomb again, though. Cody Gakpo playing off the back of that. Harry's been spotted by Maple here in this last scenario. Does actually get that 1 kill, is stunned by Maple. Do not ego child this, Harry. He's going to jump up top here. Maple, he spots him, but Maple is going to win that particular 1 versus 1. Team Notorious, they finally find a round here.
2 rounds in, Maple playing with the sniper rifle, didn't find value with it, pulls out the TAC 56, make sure that you are overwatching some of these SMG plays manifesting itself, and you know, those tradable positions that we know that Team Notorious, especially in Search and Destroy, like to play with one another, kind of works out in their favor just a little bit. Keeps Cody Gakpo at bay from even planning that bomb. We'll have to see how this round 4 ends up piecing together for themselves. Maple still playing with a knife in their hand. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to be holding on to a TAC 56. Going to be playing this longer line of sight all the way in the backside of logs.
Yeah, I realize this is going to be a little bit more useful in those 1 versus 3 situations of attack, not the sniper rifle. Also can help out his team if required. Cody Gakpo, though, not going to make any moves just yet that would give a kill away for free. And well, Furious with the power position on towards Eric Boom. That is a great first blood to take now. The bomb down right at their feet.
Metal stunned up top single. That's good information to have for themselves. But still, as you say, that bomb being dropped just outside of this doorway needs to be recovered. Need to be able to do something with it. Or you could just find eliminations. Why not? Yeah, going to be able to sniff out a handful of players. Furious pops dead silence. He's inside of top art. And that's going to couple along quite nicely for Felix on the pinch. Going to be able to find themselves another elimination coming back from the depths. Cody Gakpo able to answer back from the round that Team Notorious stole away one prior to this.
I was going to say, I love this play from Furious, by the way. He does not get greedy, does not go straight for that second gunfight. In no universe, at least I don't think so, does he anticipate Metals just yeeting himself out on towards the street for a free kill for Furious. He does not think he's getting that second kill. He's just like, right, I'm playing my life. Brilliantly played, though. Regardless, says the round will flip on its head. Notorious, again, that bomb being dropped in a precarious spot probably wasn't the best play to make. Regardless, though, Cody Gakpo looking pretty good here early on in the Search and Destroy. Great performance coming out from F-Dot, 4-1. Gizmo 6-2. For this bomb now for Cody Gakpo. Again, it's that you want to make the move over towards A. You want to get the bomb down on A, but you're not quite sure about it just yet. You need to make sure at least to get 1 kill. Remove Notorious from some power position.
You saw it right there on your screen as well. Gizmo does have a cruise missile to be playing with in one of these later rounds. Stun towards the horse statue will reveal Metal's position, you would think, but Maple is playing in a very similar spot. Will end up taking down Gizmo, so cruise missile off the table for this round.
Huge snipe coming out from Maple. Now Cody Gakpo absolutely unsure if they want to get the bomb down just yet. If they do, it'll put a 4th man on the map for them. Form of that timer, but I mean, look at the amount of utility that's being thrown their way at the moment. Notorious, they've got the crack through the door. Eric Boom, off the back of that, can he get an exit frag? No, he cannot. It will instead be Metals that does exactly that. Now they find themselves in a 2 versus 4 scenario. F-Dot and Harry just to defend this bomb. F-Dot all the way at the back of the map here with the sniper rifle. Harry actually gets 1 from munitions. A second would be nice, but Eric Boom with the denial, and now F-Dot in the 1 versus 3 just wants to try and pull one of these players at least towards the back line. Just to waste some time, but it's just not going to happen. Overwhelmed there in the 1 versus 3. Good effort from F-Dot, but it's not to be.
Yeah, very interesting adaptations coming through across multiple Search and Destroy maps, right? As you and I were noting, there's a multitude of players on Cody Gakpo that could pull out the boomstick, and you know, no pun intended, notoriously, it has been Harry, you know, all year long, even when he was playing with Elevate, and hell, even for this Cody Gakpo roster through the elite qualifiers. But F-Dot pulls it out, puts themselves in one of the more winningest positions, I suppose, but numbers aside, gets completely overwhelmed towards the back. Even the bomb being planted in a 2v multiple situation is a very tough ask, but with Harry being an art is the best asset that you could probably have for Cody Gakpo to be able to get that bomb planted at A. It just comes down to the overwhelming pressure that Team Notorious brought to the table.
Well, Team Notorious, they want to try and tie this thing up. Maple would be a great player to do exactly that, trying to get the first blood, but will be denied. Instead, it will be F-Dot, who climbs up inside the window, takes a player out in the form of Metals, that I don't think Metals ever expected to take that gunfight at that point in time. And now these guys just trying to get a feel for one another. I think Maple most certainly has a feel for Furious. Maybe a feel for F-Dot as well, but no, F-Dot is going to be the one to take him down. And now 2v2 we go. These guys at the moment just getting some nasty kills.
2v2. Bomb still being held. Harry tacks up with a nade. With the sniper in hand, WeeMan just had to land a bullet to the chest, and he will be able to do just that. F-Dot picks up the sniper from his fallen comrade. We can see through the X-ray that WeeMan, in fact, is still inside that truck. But Eric Boom, bomb in hand, will rotate all the way over towards B. Going to force out a 2v1 retake for F-Dot.
These players very fast split up, and WeeMan did not see him cross this minimap at all, so Eric's not going to expect it. And now F-Dot coming back across the deal with WeeMan. Nope, WeeMan's going to win that 1 versus 1. Great play from WeeMan. Good prediction to know exactly where he's going to come from. And yeah, would you look at that as a big plant, Andy? We never get those. Or we do every so often, but they are extremely rare.
You don't see teams really go for B executes off the rip, but in a 2v multiple situation, or even like halfway through the round, recognizing where the last player is going to be located at, yeah, the B bomb plan could be a rotation that you'll see to be quite common in the latter half of a round. So tying things up through round 6, our Team Notorious into round number 7 has Cody Gakpo up on the offense, and it's immediate art control for them.
First blood ball to go the way of Furious. Eric Boom going to fall. WeeMan goes down as well. Gives Furious the free kill. And now in a 2 versus 4, you got to find something. Metals will actually get the nice stun kill on towards Harry. A nade might follow up with a second, unfortunately for him, though. Of course, those early bloods from Cody Gakpo have enabled them to get the bomb down on towards A. Maple in a horrendous position here. 1 versus 3 scenario. Can maybe catch one of these players off guard, but it's just a matter of trying to actually guess where they will be. And yeah, not much information to work off whatsoever. Cody Gakpo, really well played. You get the first blood, you get the bomb down.
Yep, and that's just the very quick A execute that we've known to expect, especially on El Bagger, Fortress Search and Destroy. You get art control, you get one player up through the back stairs, you find first blood, bomb goes down, and it's all just trying to find where these players are located at. Flank secured, certainly going to be on the front side of Art, if not through the double archway. Wonderfully executed through from Cody Gakpo. Just going back to their round 1 escapade of just getting wildly and aggressive through Art works out in their favor. Take a 1-round lead.
Alrighty, well, Team Notorious here. They want a fast and furious push towards A. Not going to get it just yet, but that's a lovely nade from Maple to literally blow the play wide open. They lose first blood, and that's a heck of a response. And look at this aggression coming out from F-Dot. That is a massive, massive kill to take down Metals in the scenario. This round, though, very quickly fallen by the wayside. And of course, they do know at least somewhat where F-Dot went. Are they going to expect this, though? F-Dot activating the dead silence. I don't think they will. The first 2 shots coming in with Eric Boom, and if you get a solid connection, that would have been good, but he doesn't.
And Maple's just holding it over by the bush. F-Dot didn't see him. Teammate might convey the information. Maple just needs to stay alive. Throw a shoulder, confirm that F-Dot is, in fact, on bottom munitions. And you don't really have to do anything else. You see Eric Boom through the X-ray the moment that F-Dot chows out. He needs to find that kill very quickly. Maple wasn't there for the quick trade. 27 seconds, 1v1.
Oh, Maple went to check the middle of the map. F-Dot is playing this slow. Will Maple get timing? No. Maple's now going to have to run away here. He's already weak. F-Dot's going to jump straight on the defuse here at the very least. Just hold the heady of that angle. Maple's going to have to check sooner rather than later. Oh! F-Dot, the young 18-year-old Phenom, coming through there with a 1 versus 2, the 3rd kill of the round.
Sing your heart out, F-Dot. 10 in 3, 1v2 clutch, snaps on Eric out from the door. What a read from them. And then calls the bluff for Maple, who could have honestly gone through close, but doesn't, knowing that it's very wall bangable if they try to poke through that door, that it would have been a swift demise. So they go for the reach out of open, and F-Dot just absolutely just rips them ablaze. Insane scenes coming through from F-Dot. 10 in 3 on a 3 spree. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that Gizmo still has a cruise missile in their back pocket that they had earned quite a few rounds ago. Map point.
Yeah, and you should see that here. I think that's why they'll just get the bomb down as quickly as possible. Get Team Notorious playing this one extremely slow, though. That is a very passive play coming out from Team Notorious right off the rip. Nades being thrown over towards the munitions side, and they will take out Furious off the back of that. So now, one man down, Cody Gakpo. And almost gets Eric Boom to trade things out, but Gizmo will be denied that particular frag here. And still, the numbers in favor of Team Notorious. Eric Boom, he's activated Daddy, indicative of the fact he might make a play. It will instead be Harry who does come out into the open to try and make the play happen. Is traded off, and now it's down to a 1 versus 3 for F-Top. Very quickly, the numbers will fall, but we know he is capable of this.
He doesn't have that silence, though. And even if he did, maybe try to wait for it, but the timing just wouldn't have been on their side. Had to go check the bomb. The moment they mantle up through top single, they'll be gunned. Just waiting for a few dead silences to be charged up here for Team Notorious, and the defuse would be coming through. Just barely keeping their heads above water are Team Notorious. And yeah, through the middle of the map, they are able to find quite a wonderful virtue for themselves, being able to team shot all of Cody Gakpo. The nades also connecting in towards the back, confirming the simple fact that Cody Gakpo, excuse me, we're trying to go back for that quick AXQ like you were talking about, Brody, with that cruise missile in their back pocket. It's really their best bet. Maybe you might see some adaptations come through, maybe play a little bit slower pace in the next few rounds to just to try to find value with the streak. But so far, I have not pulled the trigger on that one.
Team Notorious refusing to die, as you say, though. Still got that cruise missile to go. Do Cody Gakpo. They need to use it. Make sure it's utilized correctly, though. You have to feel if you're Cody Gakpo, Metals is pre-firing everywhere, but where somebody from Cody Gakpo is, and they finally discovered where somebody is. Furious takes him down, and now there's not really much to work with in terms of getting this bomb down at all.
Tough gunfight through double windows. Gizmo needs to lay down. Man thought that he was going to be able to connect with the Semtex, but Gizmo has a trophy system to keep him alive. 4v3. Team Notorious just completely back all the way up, and Man's spidey senses are tingling. Knows that there's going to be a player over by the cannon side. The trade, the damage is good. Maple's going to be able to take them down, but quickly traded out 2v3.
Yeah, tries to get away. Does Man is going to shut down for it. That would have a really good play, by the way, from Maple and Man to 2v1. Furious in that position. Now they need to find an advantage elsewhere. You're not going to find it there. Maple gets caught by F-Dot. He's on the hay bales, heady. 25 seconds left here. As soon as Eric Boom tries to get this bomb down, got to think that cruise missile might well come down from the heavens. Eric Boom, he's going to go for it. 15 seconds left. Does actually get the first kill. Now, though, it's now a 1 versus 2. Should be able to get the bomb down. Here it is from Gizmo. He's also getting rushed by F-Dot anyway. This cruise missile will come down. Gizmo takes out his teammate, but it is a celebratory kill anyway. It doesn't matter at this point. Cody Gakpo, they will win this game and stay alive.
Oh, man. This is what how much would that have sucked if there was so little time on the clock that glide bomb ends up taking down his teammate and he can't get there in time. Obviously, that's not the universe that we live in. The universe that we live in is a blistering pace for Cody Gakpo in the search and destroy on all Bagger Fortress to keep themselves alive in this best of 7 grand finals versus Team Notorious. And yeah, able to get that cruise missile quite early on was Gizmo, just waiting for the opportune time to maybe pull that out. You're up on that point. You had a numbers advantage. There was really only one play left to try to plant that bomb if you are Team Notorious, but streak gets called in. The gunfight's going to follow. The confirmation off the information. Everything just coming up. All aces for Cody Gakpo in that search and destroy.
Just a great performance coming out there from Cody Gakpo, especially towards the back few rounds. But we can take a look at the final stat lines here just very briefly. F-Dot, the man of the hour, the one with a 1 versus 2, and of course 3 kills in that round that we saw. 12-4 is how he will finish the search and destroy. Gizmo, of course, off his early spree with that cruise missile. Ignore the fact that it says highest streak. Obviously, we know that that's not true. Did get that cruise missile and was integral to that final round. And then, of course, 6-4 victory is what it will all equate to for the Cody Gakpo roster. They stay alive in this best of 7. They are not done yet. But next up is going to be yet another control. This time, it's going to be on Fortress. So round 5 bonanza potentially on our hands. Maybe to force a game number 7. Who knows? After all, it is Fortress control. We're back with that after the break. Everybody, welcome back here to the Call of Duty Challengers Cup. It could well be the final map now between Team Notorious and Cody Gakpo. As Cody Gakpo, they've managed to hold on after that victory in the Search and Destroy. Now, though, it's time for Control and Fortress. Everybody's favorite map mode combination could well decide this best of 7.
How sarcastic are you trying to be today, brother? But, you know, regardless of the matter, it's still going to have to be an effort and a half from Cody Gakpo to be able to force out a game number 7. It all gets done here on Fortress Control. Blistering start, keep in mind you. A 4-for-3 start, that in favor of Cody Gakpo, and this is where the spawn trap can absolutely be enforced.
Yeah, this is the big problem, right, with playing offense here on this map. You lose one wave of gunfights and you get trapped into your spawns. That hasn't actually happened, to be fair. A couple of players have filtered on through towards A. Eric Boom is one of those players that's currently gravitating around the point. Maple also with him. A couple of gunfights will be going their way. And enough actually to buy some time and some space. F. Dot, though, picks up 2, brings it all down to just Maple, who is now on 5 in a row off the start of this game. Finally does get taken down by a trophy system of all things, but nonetheless there he will pave the way to keep Notorious alive.
Keeping them alive, keeping it going. First segment over at A almost captured. F. Dot just playing the annoying position of top double windows. Now we're just down to 30 seconds, excuse me. 16 plays up against 19. Inside of top maps, Furious thought that he might be able to get that position in their favor, but still, all Team Notorious struggling to get out from their spawn. They got 20 seconds to try to get on one of these zones.
Notorious needs something right about now, to be honest with you. Now stuns coming out, 15 seconds left, nobody able to get anywhere. Harry with the mid-map coverage. It's F. Dot and Gizmo, though, picking up the frags, all down to just Eric Boom now. He does get taken down, 8 seconds left, short of some Hail Mary. Long haul play here towards one of these 2 control zones. This one is done so without WeMan getting a single frag in his favor there in round number 1. And to be fair, I don't exactly blame the guy. He's an AR trying to play offense here on Fortress Control, but Cody Gakpo there played extremely well in that moment. Only 1 tick, I believe, given away, if that.
Only one word that really comes to mind, and that word is yeesh, because that's all Bagger Fortress Control in a nutshell. You lose that opening engagement, and the one soon to follow, you are put in the spawn trap blender. What felt like an eternity for Team Notorious, I'm sure of it. As you were talking about, WeMan 0-6 from the offensive side, 2-4 for Eric Boom, just could not really get anything going for themselves. 14-6 is F. Dot and Gizmo. Couple that along together. Here comes the offensive attempt for Cody Gakpo.
Big one for the Cody Gakpo roster. What you got to do is make sure you get more ticks than Team Notorious to, again, force that round 5, in your favor. Doesn't guarantee a victory, but does make it pretty damn near impossible for the offensive team to win. Maple now starting to entrench himself inside. Harry in the middle of the map. How about that? To get these players away. 5 in a row for Harry. He is still going on that as well, But Cody Gakpo now starting to make the progression on this A zone. The first tick just a moment or 2 away. Harry shut down before any streaks can be earned. Metals now looking to control the point, and he will only get 1. It's Gizmo now that will endure. Gizmo will endure. It's 3 in a row, and that first tick goes through.
We're straight coming through from Gizmo. We've been still searching for that first elimination. It's 0-9 at this current juncture of time. And F. Dot has been putting himself in the same position continuously through this offensive endeavor. Switched to the Shiv and is able to take down Metals in return. That is going to be the A zone fully tacked on over in favor of Cody Gakpo. And they're not done finding eliminations. 23-14, just under 2 minutes.
A has fallen by the wayside. Cody Gakpo might well just swing straight across towards B, but as I say, it's a full wave of kills coming through from Team Notorious. They haven't quite dealt with Harry just yet. He actually will still prove a problem here for Team Notorious. And how about this one from just 1 player left alive? Cody Gakpo have completely wiped Notorious away back towards the respawn point. They could well do this here with 1 good stack. Could anybody from Notorious stop this? Can anybody from Notorious stop Harry at this point? 5 in a row to close things out. No is the answer. And we were so definitive, Andy, about this being such a heavily defensively sided map that these offensive rounds are a dime a dozen. Well, Cody Gakpo, they make it look so easy.
It really just goes to show you just how aggressive and proactive Cody Gakpo are. Every single elimination means a different position on the map for themselves, specifically for F. Dot. Words are hard. Every single time that an elimination came through over by the truck, over by the A zone, he was putting himself in pillars just right in front of where you see the defense spawn in at. It was that same position that was cutting down reinforcements every single moment that Team Notorious responding back up. And you're forced to respond here if you are Team Notorious. You remember on their last offensive attempt here, Brody, they were put in the spawn trap blender for the majority of their entire round. They have to win this opening engagement.
Yeah, and they don't. It really is as simple as that. You've got one player in from behind. That's Metals. That roaming sub, to be fair, it was looking not great for the Team Notorious roster there on the offense to kick things off. Now at least they have some ray of hope here, and it's Metals inside munitions, but he finally does get shut down. Has he bought enough time and enough space here for Team Notorious to get out of that spawn trap and start to make some progression on A? This all falls on the shoulders of both Maple and Eric Boom. How many times have we said that this series? The latter of which now is the only one on that point. Eric Boom has to get at least one frag here. Metals instead is actually going to be responsible for one in the middle of the map. Nice nade from Maple to get another one. A nice nade, at least for Notorious, from Harry to take down another of the Cody Gakpo players. But it just isn't enough. Down these long ranges of sight are the AR players of Cody Gakpo, and Notorious still with 40 seconds left haven't even made that first tick.
No, that single segment has not come through quite yet, and F-Dot is just piecing. He's 20-7, Brody. He is showcasing why he is the young phenom. Maple's ankles are also being broken by none other than F-Dot over by the A zone. That first segment did come through. 16 plays up against 17 with just under 30 seconds remaining. Eric Boom will find two, but still so much work left to be done.
Still so much left to be done. 24 seconds left here. Notorious, one last attempt, or we will see a game number 7 in this one. Cody Gakpo have been clinical. That last round was excellent. The first was also pretty good. Team Notorious, 10 seconds left now. Can you get out? F-Dot on 5 in a row will finally be shut down, but that is going to be all she wrote here in this Fortress control. A fast one for both of these two teams as Cody Gakpo again, that round number 2, clinical. They forced the game 7.
You say the round number 2. I say the round 1 is what started the entire blender that we got through the round number 2 as well. It's just the way that Cody Gakpo started off both round number 1 and round number 2, damn near flawlessly. They're opening breakoffs through Fortress control on both offense and defensive like. It's something you could absolutely write home about. If it's a photograph, your grandmother's going to put it on her refrigerator, because it was fantastic to be able to witness all of the gunfights, all of the crosses, the team shots, and everything else in between just pop off so wonderfully for this Cody Gakpo roster. And it just opened up so many different opportunities for them to put themselves in such ratty positions just to deal with Team Notorious, who, with under 30 seconds remaining, desperation is surely going to set on in. And this guy on your screen right here, F-Dot, was the main benefactor from all of the pressure that was being laid down continuously from both Harry and Gizmo. Even right here on your screen, 20-7, 23-8, this guy was unkillable.
Just incredible play coming out. And you named the 3 players there. I mean, I've been talking about Furious as kind of the player to watch here for this Cody Gakpo roster today. He wasn't even allowed to do anything in that game. Like, it's not like he played badly. He just couldn't do anything because Harry, Gizmo, F-Dot were hoovering up the kills. Poor wee man, by the way. Poor wee man ends a control on a breadstick. That is the tough life of a main AR player there on Fortress, especially with 2 offensive to kind of bring down. But yeah, that is so unfortunate. Shout out to Cody Gakpo, though. Just incredible there to win. I mean, I will disagree with you on the round that was important. That round number 2 was just is sensational from Cody Gakpo, I think, especially with just how much. I mean, they were down and out inside munitions. And yeah, they managed to come back and win the offensive round. Andy, would you believe it, mate? It's a best of 7. Of course we'd be going to the game 7. Of course we would. There's just no other way.
Why wouldn't it be? I mean, you take a look at the best of 7 and how we got here, right? I mean, the control and hardpoint win on Hotel that went in towards Team Notorious' favor. I honestly thought that we were going to go in towards that Fortress Search and Destroy, and we were going to be looking at the potential conclusion. But it's just simply not meant to be. Not with the way that F-Dot has showed up in these previous 2 maps. He goes somewhere absurd of like 12-3 in the Search and Destroy on Fortress. Doesn't even reach double digits for deaths in that control. I mean, you get to see what it looks like when this kid has an inch in front of him. He turns it into a whole country mile, and it's just so much pressure that you just have to be aware of. And even when you think that you fully dealt with the pressure that F-Dot has been bringing to the table, you still have the crossfires and the longer lines of sight that are being watched both by Gizmo and Harry. This team is just at an all-time high right now, and then we're going to a Mercado hardpoint, which, again, you know, I'll call a spade as far as Mercado hardpoint is concerned. There's been a multitude of different instances through the Elite Qualifier, and even on this Championship Sunday that we have seen this Cody Gakpo roster kind of start a little slow, but then that second win comes in for F-Dot, and he goes on a 13 spree earlier to high degree. He goes on a complete tangent. It just feels like that when this guy gets the gas, when the comms are flowing, this guy is just everywhere. He's just untradeable.
Yeah, so it is going to be a search and destroy here for game number 7, obviously. And you know, I think the big thing is from the search and destroys that we've seen earlier on today from the Cody Gakpo roster, It's the SMG pressure, right? That is just the key thing for me. Yes, the ARs are great. Yes, the sniper rifles are great here on Mercado Las Almas, but the reason that they won both Search and Destroys earlier on in the series is you have players like Furious just going off. I mean, what, 13 and 7 over on Hotel, Hardpoint, Hotel Search and Destroy, excuse me, earlier on in the series. Just an incredible performance coming out from him. You know, and again, that SMG pressure is just so crucial. And what map do you need the SMGs to come out and play on? It's this one right here to get control of Cantina, because you know, there's only really one bomb site on this map. Let's be honest. 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, we don't see B. It doesn't happen, Andy, okay? We know that the majority actually goes down towards A. And that, I think, is where Cody, Gakpo have been shining. I think, you know, their A hits have been phenomenal.
If there's one team that might end up making a push happen over towards B, don't forget that in that map number 2 of lower finals of Cody Gakpo in a round 11 loss to Elevate, they actually made it quite potent that they were going for the A fake, and they were able to fish out that first blood over by the Planters box and force the B defender to then rotate back over through Dark, and then they kind of just slipped through P1, and they were able to get that B bomb plant and get to in position. It worked out twice in their favor, Brody, and I don't think that it's something that you can necessarily write off, especially coming into this Mercado Search and Destroy map number 7 between these two juggernauts of an EU rosters. But even more so than that, the one thing that does scare me about this Mercado Search and Destroy is just how Cody Gakpo really did play into the hands of what Elevate were bringing to the table. They need to be careful that if those nades and stuns connect, they can't continuously brute force their way into bottom side Cantina, specifically defensively. They were offering up way too many first bloods for Denza to collect on, and you know that Eric Boom, he's going to be fuming off of that fortress control. He's going to be coming in like a bat out of hell, making sure that he can enforce his way to another cup victory.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other side of the conversation, right? We were talking about kind of the pressure that Cody Gakpo have to offer here to the table in this matchup. What about Eric Boom? I mean, Eric Boom is that guy. He's just so frustrating to deal with, especially on a map like this. He's so fast-paced. And this is where, if anything, because I think Eric Boom has slowed down somewhat over the course of the last season. You know, he's had to play a lot more selflessly. He had to play a lot less of that kind of explosive SMG player role. He had to see that to Metals on this team, or Furious prior to that. I think this is where I want to see that coming out from him, right? I want to see him get hyper-aggressive, be annoying to the Cody Gakpo roster, because that is what he does so well. And we've seen it, you know, even at the beginning of this season, you remember his like 4-piece and the Breaking Point next tournament that could beat Hardpoint on his head. That's the kind of Eric Boom that I want to see here in this game number 7. Game number 7 it is, though, folks, between Team Notorious and Cody Gakpo. Only one of these teams can be Cup 3 champions. It's going to be, I can't believe it's come down to this, to be honest. Again, game number 7. Still getting used to these best of 7s in the grand finals. This is our 3rd one of the season. It will most certainly not be our last. We've got the mini back blocker on it, guys. A reminder for you folks at home, that needs to be there for the player integrity. But regardless, Team Notorious, they're kicking things off here on the offense. Those nades and stuns going out, they will not find anything.
Well, Eric Boom actually gets tagged up with a nade, so if you're looking at this from Cody Gakpo's perspective, you should be more than aware that this push might be coming over towards A, but they completely concede the space. They're waiting for the push to come to them. 2 for 1 goes the kill feed. Eric Boom still alive, has the bomb in hand.
Oh, a terrible play from Cody Gakpo to get themselves in the middle of the map like that. The back of it, they are going to have the numbers in this round. Stun being thrown out there by F-Dot. Metals, well, needs to win that 1v1, frankly, to keep this round in your favor, and it just doesn't happen. So now Eric being left up in a 1 versus 3. And I was saying a moment ago, I want to see that highly explosive, super fast-paced Eric Boom. I don't know if we're going to see that here. He has to teeter himself towards the bomb site, so he isn't visible to the player in the middle of the map. But as soon as this goes down, these players, they should just run straight towards the site. Eric Boom gets himself inside Cantina, activates the dead silence so that he will not be heard. But still, as players from all angles to deal with, gets the first. Immediate trade will not be in because of the fact that they are pretty separated in this position, but F-Dot taking shots through the wall, forces Eric Boom away and right back into the hands of Furious, who will finish things off. And yeah, 1 versus 3, good effort from Eric. It's not enough.
It's not enough, and I want to go back to the point you were talking about with the hyper-aggression that Team Notorious were able to find value with so many of those rounds going back to the Search and Destroy on Albagra, on Greenberg Hotel, Search and Destroy, our map number 2 for this best of 7 series, and I don't think that Cody Gakpo are going to play into their play style. Cody Gakpo are going to continue to play what worked well for them and not allow the aggression to come all the way through, just making sure that they can play at an arm's length away, making sure that they're watching those crucial longer lines of sight and try to shut down the aggression as it starts manifesting itself for Team Notorious. It's exactly what happened on their opening defensive round. Immediate focus over by B. Middle of the map control was so good off of the confirmation from at least a few stun grenades over top Cantina.
Oh, here comes those stuns and nades once again, trying to tag both Metals and WeMan. Towards back, Bushera, Eric, boom! Again, there's the aggression, trying to make his way into Cantina. Not going to work there as Harry not only gets one kill with a weapon, but another one with the Semtex as well. And now that'll leave Notorious in a bit of a rough spot here. 2 versus 4 scenario. Maple and WeMan left up. What can you do here?
Oh, Maple's got the sniper, drags up towards one player in the window. Almost had a good look for the second, but 1v3 with the sniper. You can tell by the canter of my voice that doesn't really seem too likely. Gonna have to put on a absolute pomage montage. And it's just not going to be the case at all. Cody Gakpo, again, finding information over top of Cantina with their nades and everything included. Get inside of the building, get up top in the window. They find the eliminations required, get that bomb planted, and win the opening 2 rounds here on the search.
Yeah, perhaps if WeMan gets 1 kill there, in that 2 versus 4, it might have been a little bit more palatable of a situation, but it's just not to be. Those first couple of frags from Harry, just too much to handle for Team Notorious. Things looking pretty good at the start of this search and destroy. If you're a Cody Gakpo, that's the start you wanted. These guys have been such a great search and destroy team today, even taking a couple of maps away from a team like Elevate, who also we know they are very, very good at S&D. We're seeing that time and time again now. Cody Gakpo, though, start of this round, going to get that first blood. Will be Gizmo responsible for it this time. Might well get a second. I believe WeMan, despite getting that kill, will be flashed momentarily.
Oh, no.
Furious opens the door to a couple of free kills. He will take those every single day. And now WeMan left up in a 1 versus 3. He's been tagged. He is dead to rights.
Oh, the wall bangs coming through from the door as well. You saw the pinch manifesting out from the barbershop as well. Man, no dead silence to their name. Knows that there's one player on the planter's box. Will get the damage on F. Has the read on the staircase, but did not have the HP required to take that 1v1. 3 rounds in, and Cody Gakpo are doing everything right, you would feel. The nades to begin the round, whether it's via a trophy system to stop it or confirmation off of damage. They then collapse on top of it. They are being the over-aggressors this time around. It really does feel like that Team Notorious are reeling, maybe find their footing underneath. The Metals 0-3, a combined 2-6 for Eric and Maple. Things that you don't like to see. But 5-1 for Furious is something that you absolutely adore if you're a fan of Cody Gakpo. He's being the aggressor. He's coming out on top.
Harry also 4-1 with the sniper rifle. It's been really crucial to some of these early round plays. Of course, 2 of those were down to a nade and a nice snipe. But regardless, in this round, Team Notorious finally getting some things in their favor. Maple now starting to face some pressure here. Cannot get away. Oh, no! No! Not like this! Gizmo takes down his teammate. Maple was dead. And now he survives. Down to Gizmo. Helping out Maple there. Now 3 versus 2 scenario. Maple's still alive. I have no idea how he is still going here. And he did close out the round as well. Goodness gracious, what? Maple, man. He is, he's blessed. He's absolutely blessed.
He's probably having a little bit of a chuckle. I don't know if you've seen the the Twitter feed of Eric collecting clips of Maple team nading him. Maple must be having a little bit of a laugh right there. Gets gifted a free kill in front of their face, gets the regen, and then pops dead silence, finds 2. It's just silly things unfolding here on Mercado Las Almas, map number 7, Search and Destroy. Getting themselves on the board, though, are Team Notorious regardless. The B push not really working out in Cody Gakpo's favor. Maple pulls out the boomstick here for this round number 5. Doesn't see anything quite yet.
This time around, Notorious not quite so successful in getting control of Cantina. This is a lot of space given away to the Cody Gakpo roster. Generally speaking, the team on the offense is the one that does get control of Cantina. That hasn't happened here, although you can see in the X-ray, Metals might well still be the playmaker. He's managed to get past that 50-yard line and could well cause some problems elsewhere. Those problems have already been caused by the rest of the Notorious roster, and it's already down to Harry left up in a 1 versus 4. He is very far removed from this bomb site, and Maple will finish him off with a sniper rifle. I can't wait to see this in the cool cam.
Gotta take a deep breath here if you are Cody Gakpo. 2 rounds on the bounce. And this team of Notorious are going to start feeling themselves pretty darn quickly. That split was interesting, to say the least. You had Maple over top Taco Truck, and then one player over through the middle of the map. But then Eric, as well as I believe was WeMan, it kind of go over towards Cantina. 1 top, 1 bottom. And even Eric with throwing that shoulder, I think he probably saw 2 regardless. 2 stuns did connect, so he knew that it was going to be an A executed. And even with the middle of the map being secured by Team Notorious, they could collapse on the play that Cody Gakpo were trying to put together.
Alrighty, well, they've lost 2 rounds back-to-back now. Cody Gakpo want to stabilize here, and well, this might not be the round in which it happens. Eric Beam already opened up with a first blood, but look at this from Furious. Good response right back at you. Metals, though, not having any of it. restless as ever, will go straight in towards Cantina, not for one, but for two. He's coming for it all. Furious now needs an ace in this round. And a 1 versus 2 to boot might well get it, but Metals with the denial. Metals, goodness gracious me. If you didn't know his value on Rocker Academy, look at him here on Notorious.
You remember when Metals was 0-3? Yeah, that was a few rounds ago. He has swiftly turned this search and destroy around. You asked for the aggression to come through from Team Notorious. Metals is delivering off of the nades, able to get himself inside of Cantina. Aggressive as you like. Metals is on 5 in a row. 1 elimination away from getting the glide bomb. 3 rounds in a row for Team Notorious, tied up ahead of round 7.
What a search and destroy this has been. 3 rounds on the bounce. Cody Gakpo, 3 rounds on the bounce from Notorious. Very reminiscent of that hotel search and destroy that we saw earlier on. This time, things slowing up from both of the sides. I think Notorious are trying to play for that streak. Would be huge for Metals to gain it. Elsewhere, Maple has already picked up the first blood against Gizmo. Gakpo here. Looking for something, and I think a lot of this play and towards A will be off Furious, who is sitting down bottom stairwell. Here we go, and finally he will fall. Eric Boom to take him down. The doors have opened.
Dot needs to be able to find at least 2 here. Metals from the top rope will find elimination number 6. That is a cruise missile earned in the back pocket for Team Notorious. This is starting to look like 4 rounds in a row on the dumpster. Yeah, go ahead and give him another. Metals is undeniable in these past 4 rounds. Is not the main benefactor, but he is definitely the catalyst, I would say, to be able to bring Team Notorious back from the depths. Now they have themselves a 1-round lead. I love that play that just came through from them offensively. They found that first blood on the Gizmo via nade. They pulled the magic conch shell, told them to do nothing, and they just waited for more eliminations to come their way. Wonderfully executed from Team Notorious.
4 rounds on the bounce. This is impressive as hell, and a lot of it has been down to Metals, as you say. 7 in a row now. He's just had a stellar last few rounds. Cody Gakpo have to put a stop to him right about now, and they need some aggression of their own. I think that's exactly what they're thinking. Look at this. A reprisal of round number 1. This time it's Team Notorious doing it, giving up the entirety of A and going for control of A via mid. Doesn't work, though. Furious with the first blood.
Gonna go ahead and back all the way up inside Cantina. Cruise missile's gonna be called in. Does it bend all the way fully? No, it does not. The information's still there. You have them all trapped. Now you just need to swarm around Cantina and make sure that they cannot leave. And how about this little cheeky angle from F Dot? Finds the angle on a Weeman. It's just damage to speak of. But now you got to break out. You got to try to get that bomb planted.
And Metals has to be the playmaker hit for Team Notorious in the middle of the map. Nope, not going to land. F Dot will get this bomb down, but what does Metals do on the post plant? Does he get any of these kills? Nope, Harry is watching. Harry is watching. He has his eagle eye on you. And now Maple left up in a 1 versus 3. This would be spectacular if he could make it happen with a sniper rifle, but I don't know. A lot to ask for from Maple. He's pretty talented. But no, not that talented. Not for a 1 versus 3 with a sniper rifle in hand. You're good, Maple. Not that good. Finally, Cody Gakpo put a stop to the bleeding. And I think the more crucial thing is, yes, they finally stop bleeding rounds. They get that streak out from Metals.
Yeah, there's a lot to be talked about with them that round, right? I mean, you get the cruise missile out from Metals. I thought that we were going to be able to deny that plan. Everybody just finds refuge inside of the Cantina. I don't really like the call for the cruise missile in that round, especially. I want to hold that on for maybe a post plan or maybe in a 2v2, not in a 3v4. But regardless of the matter, I wonder if Metals might have overthrown his nade, because if he had it landing right behind the bomb site, he would have been able to stop the plant. Regardless, nades over the top, stuns will connect. 4 players here for Team Notorious.
Fast as you like, it's back to classic A kits coming out from Team Notorious. Gizmo and Furious, they are ready for it. Gizmo in for the first. Furious now trying to make his way in from behind. Look at this reaction coming out from Eric Boom, taking the heads down. Not 1, but 2 players. And now for Notorious, they're behind themselves in a 3 versus 2. F Dot tries to put some shots into 1 player inside the window. It's not enough to get a frag just yet. It would have been nice to even the odds, but doesn't happen. 55 seconds on the clock.
That's silence pop by Harry. He's got a Vaznev in hand. Semtex over towards the bomb. He saw Eric hop on it. He's just going to eat it. Bomb's going to be planted here at A. It's planted for top Cantina. F Dot also trying to make the play around the backside of dumpster. Saw Eric Boom do the jump up. Maple, all the whereabouts in the world, will snap onto F Dot. And well, Wee Man's going to scout out Harry as well. This is looking like a Team Notorious win by way of aggression. Harry, no dead silence, has a Vaznev in hand. Everybody just looking at this direction. Team Notorious putting themselves 1 round away from being Cup number 3 champs.
Great place coming out of Notorious there. to win that round out. Harry kind of stuck in that position. I felt like maybe if FDOT can get one kill there in that 2 versus 3, might have made it a little bit more manageable, but it doesn't happen. Harry left up, out to dry. Just one more round for Team Notorious, and they will be the victors once again of a Challengers Cup. Even post-roster change, they've been looking so good. They looked so good at Raleigh, despite the fact that they had Parasite as a fill-in. Top 12 at that event. Now looking to set precedent ahead of stage 1. Cody Gakpo here. This is the play that we saw in the penultimate round of the last Search and Destroy. It's coming out again.
There's nobody really here to stop this. Keep in mind, that stun. So well placed inside of Dark. Eric, that sounds, it's going to run out. He's going to be able to find the bomb player. He stops it from going down.
Eric is going huge once again. He just loves to do this over at Silos here in Mikado. Doesn't matter if it's Hardpoint, doesn't matter if it's Search and Destroy. He is just that guy. And now he still is alive, still looking to play that life. Finally gets taken down there by Furious. Massive kill to make. 3 versus 3 we go, but the bomb still needs to go down.
Furious just needs to clear a little bit more. That's on. It's going to run out. WeMan, knowing that the bomb has not been planted yet, it's just waiting for the challenge to come all the way through. Harry will collect that bomb. He's going to start planting it here at B. Where's the rest of the team? Metals is on the flank. Dead Silence has been popped.
And he gets the first blood. Gets the first blood against Furious now, so the retake's still absolutely possible with the numbers in your favor. Timer really not on your side, though. You need to remove these players from Silo, and you need to do this in tandem with your teammates. Metals gets the pinch, but not going to get the kill just yet. It's just a look. Now it's down to Harry, left up in a 1 versus 3. He's flying down from the heavens. He's able to not even get the first. He will be done so. It's a good play from Cody Gakpo to get the bomb down on B, but it isn't good enough as Team Notorious take the Search and Destroy. It goes all the way to a game number 7 here in the grand finals, but they are able to get a second Challengers Cup victory under their belt in the 2023 season.
Metals first here in the Modern Warfare 2 year. It is the second coming through for Maple, WeMan, and Eric Boom. Massive congratulations to them. As we were talking about, Eric Boom made the play. I mean, to even make the gut check call to send 2 players, one inside Dark, Eric outside of that tin hallway, to then pop Dead Silence, pop over the half wall, stop the bomb plant from even coming through, is massive. You want to talk about a massive turnaround within its own self, being down 0-3. This round itself really did feel like the splashy effect. I mean, you had the team kill come through, and then nobody can get Maple out from that top rail position inside of top 10. And it just was the constant aggression coming through from Team Notorious to put themselves into a map-winning situation where Eric Boom can do this.
Just impressive. It really is impressive, isn't it? And by the way, a reminder, that is almost exactly what happened in the hotel, where we had like 3 or 4 rounds on the bounce for one team, 3 or 4 rounds on the bounce in response. And then towards the end, of course, Team Notorious able to get the last couple of rounds in their favor. We take a look at the stats at the end of the game. You know, we're attributing that final play to Eric Boom, but I think the one that really did kind of kickstart the entirety of that comeback there, because they were down by quite a lot, was Metals going on that 7 spree.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Metals for that 7 spree was everything. The guy goes double positive. He was 0-3 through 3 rounds worth of play, and then he turns and snaps back onto a 7 spree. We were sitting there just kind of having a little bit of a thought process, like, you probably shouldn't have pulled out that glide bomb there in that 3v4, and maybe it might have been a resource you wanted to hold on to the later rounds of this Search and Destroy, but it doesn't matter when Metals is just nuking with the Vaznev 9K, pops Dead Silence, coming around the backside of Forklift, and then is able to take down Furious. Was that one player watching the flank for Cody Gakpo, forces out the 2v3. Finally, WeMan pounces out from Dark, and it just completely all falls by the wayside. Even with the bomb being planted, this Team Notorious, they know when to get aggressive, and they executed it so wonderfully.
Alrighty, well, Team Notorious, they are our champions of Challengers Cup number 3 here in Europe. And yeah, that does set quite an interesting precedent, doesn't it, for a Challengers Elite Season 1, Andy? We were asking those questions. Who are the top teams to look out for? Who will be the top name going into that event, right? Because obviously the obvious answer prior to Roster Mania would have been Elevate, right? And Wobobobs as well. Elevate, they split up. Wobobobs didn't do so well in this Challengers Cup. They got eliminated by Grandmasters pretty early on, before even Championship Sunday. So I think for Team Notorious, this is a really good spot for them to be in. They win this cup, and now they're looking really hot going into that Challengers Elite.
You could not have asked for a better transition coming away from Raleigh, especially with like what we were talking about, you know, playing with Parasite, maybe helping him learn a little bit of spawns. As far as respawns are concerned, he is the mastermind when it comes down to it. Regardless of the matter, they bounce back, they pick up medals. This is the new 4. They qualify for the Elite. They didn't drop a single map yesterday, keep in mind you, and then they find themselves in grand finals from the winner's side. Yeah, it probably took a little bit longer than they wanted, but they bounced back from the blunder and a half on that Albagra Fortress control and win it out by 2 on the Mercado Search and Destroy, being down 0-3. Resilience does not say what this team truly does bring to the table. It is truly starting to feel like that they are really finding a comfort in their strides.
Alrighty, well, Team Notorious are your Challengers Cup 3 champions here in Europe, but our action for Challengers Cup number 3 isn't over just yet. We still have the remainder of the North American region to conclude. I believe we're in the middle of a match right now, so we're going to switch things over very briefly. If you guys want more Call of Duty Challengers action, do not go anywhere. We'll switch things over. We'll get on board with the North American action. Thank you to everybody for tuning in to the European segment of today's Challengers Cup broadcast. We see you next week for Challengers Elite.